Live from the New Jersey Statehouse, Chris Christie's office, it's the SativaCross.com podcast. I said podcast. P-O-T cast. It's actually cannabis, but we call it pot too. Reefers. Muggle. Devil's cabbage. The tree of life. Cannabosum. Don't look at me with that look, William. All right, Jim Miller is a little busy. Can we move this table? I know we've never done this before, but can we move the table a foot? Yeah. Hold on. We're live moving the table. Dan Brady. Good morning, sir. Good morning, William Haney. Jim Miller in the house. Woo! Been a busy week. I can't hear you.
Jim is trying to understand why we need 2 tents.
Oh.
Because he's eating up a lot of his time.
Well, he's done now. There it is. We got a tent. You know, it's a little wet out here, William. So welcome to the State House. Hello, Governor. Where's Governor Christie? What are we going to ask him today? Good morning. Smoke him if you got him. I love Trenton. All right, so who's going to host the show with me this morning? Eeny, meeny, miny, mo. Catch a co-host by the toe. If he hollers, let him go. Give me my host so I can start the show. Hello, fellers. You know, it's been a heck of a day yesterday. We went to Bergen County for the Ignorance is No Excuse tour. And we went to the police academy, which we've never done before. We actually went to the police academy, man. Did you see the pictures? Oh, my God. They are indoctrinating the young cadets in there. They're all... Yeah, get a mic. William, can you undo this, Jesus? Listen, they indoctrinate them by shaving all their heads. They shave their heads at this place. What are you doing? Are you? All right. Really?
You want this, right?
Really? I'm doing. Come on, guys.
What?
Can you give me a mic here, please? Just undo a mic. Just give me one mic out of this tangled mess. Just one thing, please. Please. And I'll start talking about what happened yesterday. Jesus, I'm sorry, Jim.
Without it on, you can't hear my commentary, which would have been right then. Where's the microphone, you dumb bastard?
Jim, I want you to look at this picture, and you tell me what you think about this picture. It scared me. We got there to gunfire. We showed up, and there was gunfire. Gunfire. Pow, 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 pow. Not just a couple shots. Pow, 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 pow. Carol Millman was like freaking out, man. It was.
Where exactly?
It was insane. So Carol was all freaked out.
Where were you actually exactly at that point?
The Bergen County Police
But
Academy.
where out? You parked and just exited your vehicle.
It's a gunfire.
So
in
you're
the parking lot.
Right in the parking lot. You hear that?
Yes.
Was it from an enclosed facility that you
I
could
don't know.
hear, or outside?
I don't know. I didn't get close to it.
You would think with an enclosed facility you wouldn't heard it that loud. That could be. sandbags in the back or something. Well, they got to know how to use a weapon if they're going to be police. I wonder if they learn chokeholds before or after firing a weapon.
Well, they all had shaved heads.
That's require you to show up with no facial hair. You lose your personal identity and a little more for a team look-alike. Could you see about how many men or women of color was in that class?
One.
One?
Two. Yeah, two. And they had shaved heads.
And how many people would you say that is there? About 25, 30?
10, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, about 50.
Huh.
Huh.
I got nothing.
He's got me shut off.
I'm just asking the questions. I'm not offering any commentary.
Why do I have you shut off, William? Because you were talking off mic. That's why I had you shut off.
I understand. I gotta get better with this radio etiquette.
Big time. We're having a conversation. You're yelling at poor Dan over here, and I want to hear now. What were you yelling at poor Dan about? What were you yelling about? Really? Come on. It's early.
What I was explaining to Dan is I have one hand that was working. One arm is working.
I know that feeling.
And Dan has one arm working.
Ooh.
So I was trying to get Dan one arm to work with my one arm so we could unravel.
I got
the
some
microphones.
bungees. You could bungee your bad arms together.
Yeah.
You know, or
I'm down with that.
yeah, unless that would face you in opposite directions somehow. You know.
Although the cannabis consumption has been helping. We're talking 40 years here, folks. That this arm wasn't working at all.
Wow. 40?
Yeah, 1972.
Wow.
Well, that's more than that.
Well, we have work to do, and you don't need an arm to do this kind of work. We're going to call Senator Nilsa Cruz Perez again.
No,
for the
first I
sixth
have
time.
to have the bill number, the
Okay,
companion
let's
bill
do
number.
that. Let's get the bill.
Yeah.
It's been this is
And also, you ought to real quick figure back the other dates, because when you say we've called the last, but if you say we called on and then named off 5 dates, and now again today, you see that has a sound to it. So look back those Thursdays, and I will try to find. It's 38.
So wait a minute.
52 or
Did you just say
20,
just
52.
look up those Thursdays?
Yeah.
Just look up.
Yeah.
Did you just say that to me?
Yeah,
Just look
calendar.
up those
You
Thursdays.
type in
Okay.
calendar.
So while
it'll
we're hosting the show, you just do this, just do that. You're just like everyone else.
All there is
You're
to it.
just like everyone else, Jim. You're just like the rest of them.
I find that hard to believe, but you know, I'm on the inside looking out. What do I know?
All right, we're trying here.
Okay,
But-
I clean this out too now, so.
But
I'll have to just look up the bill number. Well, you're right there. I got a tiny little screen.
Yeah, so we called on the 29th. Yeah, we just keep
Gotta
going.
make a note.
Yeah. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then we called on the 23rd or the 22nd, I believe. We started on this September 22nd. We started calling her. So yeah.
So give me those dates. It's September 22nd.
22nd. I believe it's the 22nd. Then you got the 29th, the 6th, the 13th, the 20th.
So if you said, rather than say this is our 6th call, if you say we called on September 22nd and September 29th, October 6th, 13th, 20th, and now we're calling
Okay.
for the 6th time, we simply want to know, has she talked to Senator Scutari about him offering the companion bill, or shall she do it? Or shall somebody else do it? You know, but basically it's just another reminder. That's the bitch slap right there, if I may say so. I don't mean that, you know, in a derogatory way towards females. It's just a stooge slap. How's that better?
Yeah.
I'm all scared.
We got to be
you know?
PR
I mean,
now, politically. Oh, PC.
Well, you know,
PC.
but it has like special meaning that's hard to give up.
When you bitch slap someone, it's
Well, I could call it a stooge slap, but a stooge slap is having more than one person there. I mean, it's a backhand, you know.
It could be.
You know.
Mo was great. Mo was amazing at slapping. He was the best.
Yeah.
Backhand, front hand, eye poke, it was just the nose, the ears. He would just rip Larry's hair out of his head. It was great. Oh, man. I love it.
Listen, you could look this up quicker than me because I can't see it on my screen.
Okay.
I'll help you.
What would you like me to look up?
Bills.
Okay.
Assembly bill. You were on the website right there.
Oh, okay. Assembly bill.
there.
There's a search a new. No.
Yeah, bills, current legislator right there. Click on that. Yep.
Okay. We're going to look at bills.
No, then put under keyword.
Talk to me.
Keyword.
Keyword.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right. This is riveting radio.
No, marijuana. Up in the top there.
Just put it-
What's the sad part is I'm a tech dinosaur, and for me to be directing anybody to do anything is pretty bad. Now, it's Assembly Bill 28 or 38, so scroll down till you see it.
There's a lot of marijuana bills. 3852.
It's 3852. See, you know, you want to get the right bill. And I was thinking
Very good.
2830.
Very good. Okay.
So wait a minute. You'll be all ready. And this is a good example of if you're going to call a representative, make a couple of notes first. It's just thumb notes, the bases you want to touch so you can avoid going, oh, you know what you should have said? You get that down first. And it's not dialogue. It's not, we called you 5 times and, you know.
You didn't call us back. No, we won't do that.
So it's a companion bill for A3852. You see, boys and girls, what happens is the bill has to pass through the Assembly and the Senate by starting in a committee in each of their respective paths. It has already been introduced in the Assembly, the Children's Caregivers Act, 3852, and it needs a companion bill in the Senate. So we're calling Senator Neil Cruz Perez for the 6th time, and I'm hoping, you know, normally I kind of chime in, Lefty, but
I would like you to take over.
No, I want you
okay.
to do the whole thing because this is all it really is.
All right.
I'll be here to interject if necessary, but I don't want to confuse him with that second voice. I could start mimicking you, or we could do a communal voice that we both do exactly the same, and we could go back and forth and nobody would know it. You'll have to watch the replay to hear what that means. That's actually not a bad idea, though.
Do you hear anything here?
And what we'd like is, you know, she could call back the podcast.
District Legislative Office, may I help you?
Yes, good morning. You're on the air. This is Lefty Grimes. I'm calling. We had called a few weeks in a row here. We called on September 22nd.
Lefty, this is Alexis Deegan. We spoke before, and I have spoken also with Bill Caruso. The senator would love to meet with you before she speaks with you on the air, and I'd love to set that up, but I was trying to do that through Bill Caruso since he and I discussed the issue last week. So if you give me some time to touch base with Bill, I'd love to set a meeting up with you and the senator.
That would be absolutely wonderful.
That'd be great. This is Jim Miller. I got a relationship going back with Bill Caruso from when he worked with Congressman Rob Andrews, and my late wife convinced the congressman to change his mind about medical marijuana right in front of Bill. So I'll tell him, or you'll be in touch with him if he's not by here today. He stops by most of the podcasts lately, but appreciate you filling us in.
Yeah, absolutely. You just bear with us. The senator has a very busy schedule, and we're trying to get this going.
Oh, wow.
That's fantastic.
Thank you so much.
All right.
And we'll tell Laura Barber, too. She'll be so happy to hear this. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks for your
Thank you.
help.
Yep.
All right.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye.
Wow. Well, I feel better now. I actually feel, this is the first time I feel better.
I do too.
We're getting
Yeah.
there, man. We're getting there.
You know, I couldn't. It's sort of like if you're going to name drop, and she's going to name drop Bill Caruso, I might want to remind her I know her way better than she ever will hope to be. And
Yeah.
he credits that experience with him heading in this direction. So, you know, yeah, I think I can get in touch with him. I pretty sure I know how. And Bill Cruz, I tell you, he's great because he is that. He shows up. He's like a chameleon. He looks just like them. He could be the opposition. He could be in favor. You don't know to look at him, and he knows the issues so well. He knows how legislation works and how things go on from being counsel to, I think it was Sheila Oliver back when she was the, I believe, briefly the Speaker of the Assembly a few years back. So this will be great.
Want to call this guy?
Well,
Since we're calling people, you want to call Senator Ron Rice, who ditched us the other day? Hey, there's Assemblyman Reed Guscura talking to William. All right. Get him, William.
yeah, so you talked with Ron Rice
Yeah.
last week, and he said he would come on the podcast.
Yes, he did.
I wonder if Reed would like to invite Ron Rice on the podcast. I don't think so.
Yeah, Reed,
See, that's not how it works, you know.
maybe Reed will call with us.
Yeah.
Want to make a phone call, Reed? Call Ron.
Well, look, he did say he would come on a podcast, and
Yeah.
he's probably here somewhere.
Yeah.
We're here somewhere in particular. And you could give him the chance to say no. And as polite as you are is as disarming as it is for him, where it's like, well, we got 3 more. We'll keep trying you because we sure hate to have the year end on you avoiding the podcast, apparently. Basically, in other words, the question then will be, why didn't you just say no in the first place if
Yeah.
you meant no? Because people say no all the time. Do you think the governor has ever said, yeah, I'll be right back?
He says no all the time.
He says, no way. He says, you guys are always asking for something. You people.
You people.
Yeah.
You peasants.
You know. No, so a phone call to follow, would be understandable. No real hurry. You can interject that if you feel things are going slow, or the wheels are falling off the segment. You can say, all right, let's leave this in favor of calling. But what do you want to say to Ron Rice? Let's talk about that.
Okay.
What do you want to say?
I would like to know why he voted no on the bill for PTSD.
After reminding him that, he agreed to come on the podcast, but he's on now. So even though he's not here, this is good,
Okay.
All
right.
And, we just want to hear his reason. We're not here to sway his opinion, but to try to clarify it, because it doesn't make sense to anybody. We're tired of people asking us why. How many people have asked you why? 23.
Senator Rice's office.
Good morning. You're on the air. This is Lefty Grimes from the Sativa Cross Podcast. We'd like to we spoke to Senator Rice the other day at the Statehouse, and he agreed to come on our podcast to give us 5 minutes, and we'd like to set that up with you.
Okay. What is your name again?
This is Lefty Grimes, Grimes. We're right outside the Statehouse every Thursday, right outside Chris Christie's office.
Okay. And can you spell your first name?
Lefty, Lefty.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm here with Jim Miller. And we spoke to Senator Rice last week, and we'd like to speak to him more to clarify his position on the bill for PTSD. We'd like to speak to him more about that.
Okay, let me take your name and number. He's on the way to the office. I'll talk to him, and then we'll set up a date for you. What is the best number to reach you?
908 616 0682.
908-616-0682.
Yes.
Okay, not a problem. As soon as he gets into the office, I'll talk to him, and we'll give you a call.
Great. We're on the air till 2 o'clock today, so that would be great. Thank you.
Okay, not a problem.
Okay.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
That was nice. That was smooth. So basically, and you might, assuming he does call back, make sure he knows that we're not going to be trying to change his mind or argue anything, but here's the premise. People say, I can't believe he voted against it. Why? And I don't know. Do you know? Do you know? No. Nobody knows. So what better way to find out than to ask him why, and just so we can clarify, so when people keep asking us why that would be, if something goes through the Senate Health Committee and we're counting 2 Democrats against it and only 1 Republican, you know.
Hey,
I'm sure he has a reason, and whatever it is, it doesn't really shape anything because he's going to be in that minority through everything we do anyway. You follow me? We don't need his vote. He can vote against it. We don't need it. So therefore, its lives don't hang in the balance. Maybe this is why we don't need his vote, because he's in an incredible minority. A Democrat in the legislature who votes against veterans' rights to use cannabis legally in New Jersey.
I know his one of his buddies, Senator Dick.
Cody. No, I'm not even going to say that. Yeah.
Let's call him up too.
I can't even add the quick Cody so you're not calling him a dick, because he is.
He didn't return my call. He didn't. I'm his constituent.
But don't break the spell. You're doing everything so with the proper decorum.
Okay.
Because if you do it right, and you are, you don't have to call him, well, him, it's his name, but you don't have to say something nasty about either of them. When you do your job right, people viewing and listening, they naturally come to that conclusion of their own path.
What about Senator Dick?
Yeah, I'm not a Cody, you know. I'm going to make that the longest pause possible, a 3 second
Put a few words in front of it.
I'll do a quick Cody, you know, like we'll freeze for a second.
This never gets old, Jim. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
It just doesn't get old. Senator Dick.
Cody. That's how it normally goes, you know. And he tries to catch me going away from the mic, and I get whiplash, snapping my neck back to, you know, clarify. But the question is it a nickname or a description? And, you know, it's pretty even jury on that one, you know.
Let's find out together. All right, let's.
Well, no, but it's the same thing. It's his reasons. We don't need his vote either.
Oh God, this guy. No, this guy is just too much, man.
But the thing is, we are being asked in particular why him and Senator Rice is gonna, talk to us. So maybe he too. But seriously, you're the constituent. Remind him of that. And this one, you're on your own, because I'm not going to be able to help Senator Dick Cody.
Cody's office.
Yes, good morning. This is Lefty Grimes. You're on the air. We do a podcast outside the Statehouse, and I'm one of his constituents. I live in East Hanover, and I called before. I'd like to speak to him about why he voted no for PTSD for cannabis patients.
I'm sorry, he is not here at the moment. I can certainly take a number for him to reach you back.
Sure, 908-616 0682.
Okay, I will give him the message.
Great, thank you so much. Okay.
Okay, you're welcome. Thank you.
I thought that was you doing the tape.
That was
Danny.
That was again very, very good. You know, you could actually get a job as a paid lobbyist one day.
What do lobbyists actually do?
What do they do?
Yeah, like explain what Bill Caruso what was doing back in the day. Danny, please don't do that on the mic, please.
What he has, yeah, really.
Please.
Some people that'll send into convulsions too, and that would be anti-us. That's what we're against, you know. Anyway, what a lobbyist does is have access. Now, some say, well, it's through donations, and we know that happens. In Bill's case, he's been on both sides of this. He's a lawyer. He was legal counsel, I believe it was, to Sheila Oliver like 6 years ago when she was temporarily for a little while.
Do you have to be a lawyer to be a lobbyist or no?
No.
No.
But it's that.
Does it help? How's that
people approach you different when they know
Okay.
you're a lawyer. They don't.
Okay.
They don't try to run something by you.
Yeah.
You know,
yeah.
they know they're not going to
Right.
get a blind side on you in that direction. But it's the access, and Bill built up relationships because, as you know, he's a very affable person,
Yeah.
easy to get along with, easy to talk with, a great listener. I mean, he's always right on the conversation.
Yeah.
And over the years, working as a legislative counsel for the Democratic majority in the Assembly, or Senate, whichever, Assembly, he now uses those relationships, and he can get appointments with many legislators, and they don't fear him, you know. Oh, hi, this is Assemblyman Eustace.
Good morning,
great.
sir.
Would you
Have a seat.
Have a seat for a second.
I'm on my way to a meeting.
Okay.
Oh, okay. Well, listen, thanks for everything that starts with you. This is one of the rare legislators who starts legislation, is in from the beginning. And your help, especially with the and strong support for adding PTSD to the bill. you know, there was a time, I think it was over at the annex, you stopped and took pictures with a couple of the veterans there, and they never forgot that, you know.
Yeah.
They really, when somebody takes time to stop by, it means a lot to them, so.
It means a lot the governor signed this, so it's really important
Yeah.
for veterans.
Yes.
So this is
yes.
part of our foot traffic study here. We're just, you know, I don't know if you saw the picture of me and Mr. Baroni and Governor.
Yeah.
So we're trying to figure it out, and you violated it, and that's cool, you know. Thank you, Assemblyman Eustace.
Cool. Very cool.
Yeah, very good. It's
Awesome. We like that guy.
he's really what I said about him taking the time to stop and talk to veterans, and of course Dan Brady being a veteran here once again.
More and more politicians will stop by here.
Well, it's funny. It's the right thing to do, but it's that easy to do. We don't bite, you know, and we're all going the same way.
No, but like when I first started coming out, no politicians. They would all walk right by. Now they're stopping or saying hi like that. I mean,
You know, they've
It's-
seen us before.
obviously.
That has a lot to do
But
with
they're
it. I
actually
think.
acknowledging us now and stopping by and saying hi from when I first started coming.
Yeah,
to-
you've seen
to
how
now. It's evolving
it's pretty smooth.
slowly
vibe
but
now.
surely.
Yeah.
That's all.
And
That's all I wanted to tell you.
no. It is nice to have that direct support.
Yeah.
You know, Reed Gusior passed by earlier today, and of course he always supports. But we're going to be doing some things now for this medical cannabis bill. But here's our problem. The problem is the timeline is 20 months for a legalization bill to be signed by the next Democratic governor. It could be Phil Murphy. I believe it's Phil Murphy's for sure. There's a timeline, and the recent trips legislators took to Colorado, a fact-finding mission. They realized that if they started the planning for it now, passed a bill now, whether the governor signs it or not,
Mm-hmm.
starts the process.
Right.
And what's going to happen then is if they can get a bill to Governor Christie's desk and he will veto it, all the while they'll be working on regulations, more or less using Christie as an example, how regulation delays can really hurt any program. There's things they found they would like to improve, and I don't know specifically what they are, but when you have a bipartisan fact-finding trip to Colorado with Senator Scutari, who starts things for medical marijuana in the Senate, the president of the Senate, Steve Sweeney, two Republican who are really thought highly of on both sides of the aisle, as you would imagine, for being able to go along with that mission. Bill Caruso, our friend and now lobbyist, went, and he said everybody was impressed, and everything I've read from multiple sources say, here's how it's going to go. I'm going to lay it out. Okay, new governor, get me that bill, the one that governor vetoed, and they repass it quick, because they will. And it gets to his desk, and he signs it quick, because he already seen the bill. I mean, he already knows that bill. And then what happens is when budget negotiations come up by our state constitution, have to have a balanced budget by June 30th, the end of June. This puts in expectations that you have a right to use other states like Colorado and their revenue to say we expect upwards of $300 million. That means by passing that bill, they have a $300 million budget concern that they can allocate money for and hope it comes up, because you know you got to have projections, and that's how it works. So when you're thinking it helps balance a budget, it's money. That's what everybody says. Where's the money? Follow the money. That's what's in it right now for the state. So the problem is not a problem. It's nice. The health department is evaluating the applications for adding new conditions as being acceptable to get into the program. About maybe 8 or 9 different ones. That's the process. So it's hard to bitch about that because it's working out. We can't say, hurry up, man. We can't, you know.
Yeah.
So that's been taken away. That means legislators are not going to be real rushing to add new indications while the health department's not had time to do its job. We got a good jump on PTSD is why that one slipped in under the gun. So right now, what do we have to demand of the governor? Lefty, what do you think? And then Jason, what do you think? And then
I want my guns. I want my friggin' guns. Don't take my guns away. If I have PTSD, don't take my guns away.
we've run out then. Is that, you know, I mean.
So you go first.
Well, that was an interesting. No, but you already. But you go first. Too late. No, that's fair. Fair enough. That doesn't count because you actually already personally asked the governor that. I saw the video, and I was here trying to plug in and get a wire fixed so nobody would trip.
Important stuff.
But it's okay because what you got was great.
It was all right.
But I love the way it's almost like you weren't ready to ask the question either. We didn't have.
I don't care about guns. I really don't. But it's a question that has to be asked.
What you said is,
you
said is, well, are you going to protect people's rights, not take
gun rights,
guns, right? And he said, that's what I've been. That's what I've been doing.
I've been
doing that.
Yeah.
And then to reply, no, but for PTSD, and that was the infamous reply. You people are always asking for something. You know.
Yeah, what the hell does that mean?
I don't want nothing from them.
But see, that's
get the hell out of
but
office.
as we already
go.
As we already know,
shit
that's an
from 'em.
overlap between federal and state
Fuck
concerns.
shit up enough.
You know, it's like you will not be able, perhaps, to get a permit for another gun while you are a patient, because that would involve lying on the application about not using Schedule I substances, and it's a matter of semantics, but that's where that is, and that doesn't mean that anybody's going to come in and take away those guns, though.
Well, they took Don's guns. They came to Don Carpwich's house.
Say it was a federal.
It's a scheduling issue, but they came to Don's house and they took Don's guns. That's all I know, and that's all I'm saying about it. So I don't.
Who's they?
We can call him and ask him. I forgot. I was really stoned when he told me the story.
How long ago was this?
a few years ago.
You were nodding your head.
Me and Don get really stoned together.
Years ago? Years ago.
A few years ago when he had PTSD, when they diagnosed him with PTSD, they took his guns away.
So there's 2 days. Is either of them the man? The man took his guns away.
I'd love to call him.
Saw a funny thing on In Living Color where there was an office with the man on it for all the complaints, you know.
I'll text him.
Yeah, call Don. And, that's the quickest way to clear things up. Give a call.
Let me text him. I'll give him a
Yeah,
text.
text him.
I have to text through the microphone because my phone's hooked up to the mic, so here, hold on.
Well, text him. That's fine. Just,
Hi, Don. Good morning.
Oh, it's a verbal text? Is that what you're doing?
Stop talking.
Blah, blah, blah,
No,
blah.
now he's hearing you. No, stop. Wait, I got to erase all this shit. Hold on. Stop.
It'll say, Don, how are you doing? Blah, 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 blah,
Yeah,
blah.
now stop. Wait, let me talk. I'm going to leave him a message. Hold on.
Okay.
Good morning. Stop. Can you answer a question for me? Period. Who took your guns away? Question mark. Okay, you can talk now, Jim.
No, I just signed it pretty good as best I could. We'll see how that worked out.
Let me
curious,
clarify.
like-
Let me clarify. A doctor or no? Wait. Police? Who took the guns? The police or federal?
If it was police, which police would it be? State police, is local police? Who did the actual end?
Okay, hold on. Right, don't talk. Stop talking. Here we go. State police or local police. See, look at this. Please. It says please. Please. I don't want please. I want police. Do I have a speech impediment? Am I that bad?
Try police.
Am I that bad? Really?
Try police.
All right, hold on. Let's try it again. Oh, here he goes. I got an answer. The Morristown Police.
Okay.
So the Morristown Police came, and they took Don's guns. There you go.
Who alerted them?
Okay, let's find out. Hold on.
At whose request?
The doctor. Who alerted the Morristown Police? Okay. Okay, this is good.
Yeah, this is different. Verbal texting on a visual podcast.
I love it. This is welcome to the 21st century.
Yeah.
That's how we do it
We're
now.
padding our resume of ways we go about things here.
Hello,
And
Ken Wolski.
And Ken Wolski is in the
How are
house,
you?
CEA of the Coalition for Medical Marijuana in New Jersey, a 501c3 nonprofit charitable organization in good standing with the state
No, your
of New
mic is
Jersey
right
for
in front of
decades.
you. Sorry, Jim. I didn't want Ken to speak.
That's
into
okay. I'm doing
You're
the.
just mumbling anyway.
Well, no, it was
thank you.
disclaimer. Trying to get it in.
Yeah, get
Thank
up
you.
on it.
Looking forward to our next Coalition for Medical Marijuana New Jersey hearing. It's going to be coincidentally on Election Day,
Is it really?
Nice.
November the 8th. It's going to be a very exciting meeting, I think, because we'll start to be getting some of the election results in. Of course, the main.
So we're going to have our regular second Tuesday of the month meeting,
right.
and
At,
it's on election night.
On election night, it's going to be at 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. at the Lawrence Township Library, as usual.
We might
And,
get results from Maine and Massachusetts by then. If polls close at 8 or 9,
Right,
we
right.
might, because they are the two states in the East with
Right.
legalization.
Yes. Yeah, the West Coast
referendums.
states, of course, the big prize is California with
Yeah.
Prop 64 out there, which is polling very well.
I understand, and also is it New Mexico and Arizona?
It's Nevada and
Nevada.
Arizona. Nevada and Arizona.
I thought there was 5.
That's 5. Maine and Massachusetts.
Isn't it nice to lose count? I'm thinking like this is not a bad thing to be how many? Maybe we could become the 13th or 14th state to legalize, as well as our medical standing as the 14th state. I just hope we don't screw up legalization bills. But see, that would be with another Christie-type governor. And we're pretty excited about the timeline of it works out. There's every chance to believe, there's a good chance that 20 months from now, right around June in 2018, that we could have a legalization bill signed by a Democratic governor who is supportive.
Right.
This is the way it
some of-
looks now.
right,
I know it's
yeah.
really early to tell, and anything can
No,
happen.
Some of the top legislators in the state are supporting, making legalization of marijuana in New Jersey a priority. Starting in January, they want to start working on it in January of 2018. So that's very exciting.
They're going to quite possibly put something on Christie's desk that he'll veto, because they want to use this time now to work out an actual real bill that, although it will not become law, and obviously in Christie's administration, it would be able to be reviewed by a Democratic governor as if same bill,
Right.
and put it through, who would be anxious to sign it with the purpose of allocating expected revenue in the budget that will be due at the end of June. So
Right.
it looks like late May, early June, if they work hard now, because it takes time. They're literally going to hit the ground running. I mean, they're already doing what they need to, and having the good sense to go to Colorado, where there is a model to look at. I was encouraged to find that, no, we found some things we'd like to improve. That's what they're there for, not to just have a checklist of nodding their head and going, wow, looks good. It sounds like they're expecting, and money talks, so good. If 300 million is the number that's going to get them to do this in 20 months, I got a short bucket list. What can I say? I got like one thing on it. I want to know what it's like for it to be legal in the state of New Jersey.
Yeah, that would be awesome, Jim. Awesome.
I could outlast a lot of terminal diseases, and that I don't know I have right now or anything, but it looks like I could make it another 2 years.
Senator Scutari, apparently the only concern he raised in the press conference last week was that some of the home grows out in Colorado are they're joining together, and they're creating big grows, and these big grows are diverting some of their legal marijuana to other nearby states, which is
Well,
is that a
concern
bad thing or a good
he
thing?
raised. Well, no, that's
The diversion is a bad thing.
yeah,
it is a
for,
bad
for
thing.
Oh
getting
yeah,
it to
sure.
run
Let
smooth.
the other states legalize their own marijuana.
Yep.
Okay. But
So-
diversion has helped me in the past.
Well,
I'm just saying. I
Yeah,
use
but
diversion all the time.
What
so.
I'm hearing is that it's not going to be so. Therefore, nobody gets to grow. It would be with
Right.
provisions
Yeah.
to keep that from happening. In other
Right,
words, we
right.
were okay with it with this, But then it developed into this. So
Right.
between those two things, we need a firewall in New Jersey.
Exactly.
And,
exactly. You know, there. You know,
that
you
can
may
that
be
can be
looking
done
at-
to where you do get to grow, and
There may be tags for each plant. You
Yeah.
know that. You know, there may be registered gardens.
But at least,
you know, I'm not sure.
with
But
a good start, if a needy patient that was within a short walking distance to where you live said, I could use your expertise, and I'd be willing to stop over somebody's place and help, control the grow for them, because it would help people grow in their own environment. It's very therapeutic for somebody
yeah, absolutely.
to have their own plants growing.
It is.
It could be like for a volunteer on a volunteer basis. The things that could happen would be pretty nice, and in 20 months, that doesn't sound that far.
Yeah. And of course, Delaware is looking to be the first Mid-Atlantic state to legalize. They expect to get a bill introduced in January of 2017. So, we had Zoe Patchell from the Cannabis Bureau of Delaware come to CMMNJ-TV recently and talk about the work that she's doing and the progress that they're making in Delaware. They're having, town halls. Very impressive people arguing for legalization of marijuana in Delaware. So, Delaware may beat us as the first Mid-Atlantic state to legalize, and, well, God bless them. Good,
I
thanks
hope
for all
so.
the work that they're doing.
I'll personally go there to congratulate them a couple times a year.
Yes, yeah, I go to Delaware already
And stop looking over my
to
shoulder
support their efforts.
while
Sure.
I'm there. Well, that would be nice, and I think it was real nice that they've recently had a forum at a VFW, which is, as we know, not all that easy to achieve because they have certain regulations and have to get okay from the state and all. So if they were able to simply do that at a VFW, hats off. Well, not
Right.
literally, it's too
Right.
cold for hats off right now.
Can I answer the question about about Don?
Sure.
Don, when I asked him who alerted the Morristown police, your doctor, Don says that he did not answer the question on the form that was asked, that if he was ever diagnosed with a mental condition. He said no. Then he said he had a service dog and someone else. And they revoked his firearm ID, confiscated his weapons. Every state has the question. It's all how it's worded. Some states ask you only if you have been institutionalized for a mental condition. New Jersey asks, have you ever been diagnosed? And Don lied, so technically it's a felony. So yeah,
So basically,
he got caught up. He got caught up in red tape, pretty much.
Yeah. So there's a separate New Jersey state firearm application permit in addition to the federal application permit?
Hi, good morning. How are you?
yeah, it's a state-federal crossover. And
Yeah, it's all. I mean, I thought it was
What
purely
it-
a
wha-
federal issue.
it-
You know, I mean, I
yeah.
know the federal government asks on their federal.
well, is there a
fire-
fix then? I
firearms.
mean, basically, I'm hearing what you're saying. For some reason, it's not soaking in a linear fashion. But basically, if there's a problem, is there a fix? Is there something that could be legislated or changed at another level that would make that better? I mean, this is true just about any regulations. There's certainly modifications that would make them better. So,
Well-
but you need to know this because you asked the governor this, and it seems there's a possibility it may be actually a valid question. See, Ken, we're running out of things to ask. The health department's doing its job, reviewing applications for indications, so I wouldn't expect legislators to add new indications legislatively. They want to see this work out.
Yeah, right, sure.
Now, in the time that this is working out or not working out, and in the next 10 months or 12 months, when it gets down to they do add one or two, as an example, that's halfway to legalization right there. So to do that process again next year, they're going to be considering new indications the second time around while legalization's taking hold. It's just going to pass it. And we obviously still need a medical program, but
Oh yeah. The medical program can work in conjunction with the
It'll have to.
legalized program. There's no question about it. People who are sick, people who have these very painful conditions and debilitating medical conditions, they need to work with physicians, and what they really need to work with are physicians who are experienced in marijuana therapy, who know exactly the different types of strains to recommend and the different type of forms that marijuana comes in to recommend. So, we really need a lot more education in the physician community about marijuana therapy. And
What other options for that education now, other than just searching it out for themselves?
Right.
There
Well,
are
that's
the
about
continuing education credits given at conferences you go to.
Right, sure.
American Cannabis Nurses Association.
American Cannabis Nurses Association, Patients Out of Time.
Patients at a Time.
Americans for Safe Access gives courses. Sometimes Drug Policy Alliance will give a course in conjunction with one of their conferences. So,
Well, what would it take?
these
I know
courses are out there,
I
Jim.
know it's a lot, but who does that? Who would do that in New Jersey as an example for physicians for exactly what you said? Because it's going to look like they're going to need exactly what you said.
Right. Well,
it
the
would be a
American Cannabis
reality.
Nurses Association is putting on a program for nurses, what nurses need to know about the medical marijuana in February. I believe it's February 17th at the University Medical Center at Princeton for 5 CEUs, continuing education units. Now, the physicians are required to maintain continuing medical education units, so CMEs, and so
CMEs?
so they need to do this, if I were the commissioner of the Department of Health, I would say that every physician in the state of New Jersey needs to take a course in the endocannabinoid system in order to, as a continuation of his or her license. That's here we have so many different medical conditions that marijuana is useful for, and that the state recognizes: neurological conditions, gastrointestinal conditions, pain management. So many different conditions: seizure control, glaucoma control. That every physician should be familiar with this emerging science of the endocannabinoid system, and how the cannabinoids, the plant cannabinoids, the phytocannabinoids, the cannabinoids in marijuana, and the synthetic cannabinoids all interact with this system of receptors throughout the human body to influence so many different diseases, symptoms, and conditions.
What percent of medical schools teach anything about the endocannabinoid system?
Yeah,
What do you think?
At the last survey, only 14% of the medical schools in the country even mentioned the endocannabinoid system. Right now, the only one I'm aware of is Temple University has a course in the endocannabinoid system, and it may have had something to do with the fact that Jehan Marcoux got his doctorate at Temple, and he was one of the leading researchers at
Love that guy.
Medical marijuana researchers in the country, actually.
Yeah, he's awesome.
Yeah.
So he could, if somebody was going to have a course for continuing education on the endocannabinoid system, he would probably make himself available.
Yes, as a matter of fact, he was part of this program that we gave out in the Poconos with the American Cannabis Nurses Association. There is the education out there if people look for it. But again, it should be mandated. It should be mandated by the health department. There's just, so many patients could qualify for marijuana therapy for so many different reasons that all physicians need to know about it. This is woeful and willful ignorance of an entirely new emerging science, this endocannabinoid system, that's only been identified in the last 25 years. So
that's recent, and
it absolutely is recent in terms of science and the human body.
yes, and I don't know how it would be for us to be able to find somebody to help make it a reality that require physicians to do that. But I agree. There's a requirement now for physicians to recommend cannabis that they have had a course in pain management within the last 2 years, which in itself is ridiculous.
Yeah, right.
Not for the dangerous opioids they prescribe, but for cannabis. But they've shown it can be done. So if they can have that, I think it makes perfect sense that they should be then required when it becomes easy for them to recommend. Or how is that going to be then if the medical marijuana law in New Jersey does not recognize certain indications that a person can then just go legally as an adult purchase?
Right. Well, it's like Tylenol, like going to a specific outlet and buying a bottle of Tylenol. Well, now you're going to go and buy a bottle of joints, and so yes, you manage your own condition. Some patients suffer. Take for example bipolar disorder. Many people suffer from various bipolar disorder. It's a range of symptoms. Some symptoms are so bad that they require medication. They require patients to be hospitalized.
A young woman stopped by last time. Lefty had her sit down, and Lefty was saying that it gets rid of the voices in her head. Mm-hmm. And she said it so matter-of-factly, and that she can do things, and that sounded pretty serious.
Right. Well, and so anyway, the point was that some of these conditions are diagnosed and treated in various ways, and some are subclinical. That is to say, the people have these conditions, but they're not at the extent that they are so severe that they require immediate medical intervention or 30 days in a psychiatric hospital, but it certainly needs some tuning up and some way to diminish the amount of adverse impact that these conditions have on the person. So, and one of the ways to do that is to by the use of over-the-counter drugs like medical marijuana when it becomes available.
Yeah.
If it's bad enough, yes, go see a psychiatrist.
We had a quick visit from Assemblyman Eustace. He came by.
Eustace, yes.
Yeah, talked to us for a little bit.
Oh, great.
I neglected to take a picture. What's wrong with me? I mean, it's a good, there's Assemblyman Eustace come by to, commune for a little while. He didn't want to sit down because he had his suit looked perfect and he's going
He
somewhere.
did. Very handsome guy.
Oh, yeah, he's a good-looking guy.
And, I was glad to be able to thank him on air for him taking the time last year at the, or whenever it was at the annexed to take pictures with the veterans there.
Right,
and he took some nice pictures, especially with Don. Don just looked real proud, and the Assemblyman looked happy to be part of it.
Yeah, he's been very supportive of our issues, and
he absolutely has.
We're very grateful for the support of Assemblyman Eustace and the other legislators. Reed Gusiora invited me to speak at his class at
How
the
did
College
that go?
of New Jersey.
Tell us about that.
I thought it was great, quite frankly. Reed gives a class. I believe it's once a week. Oh, yes, on Tuesdays from 5:30 to 8:20 p.m. The course is in the Political Science Department, and it's called The Politics and Public Policy of Marijuana. And there were about 40 kids in the class. The class was the course description is it's designed to give students a broader understanding of the classification of marijuana as a Schedule I controlled dangerous substance, and efforts to decriminalize and or legalize the drug, allow patients compassionate use of medicinal marijuana, and predict future law enforcement strategies to prevent its misuse. Students will review the history of federal and state marijuana laws, as well as current political, legislative, and judicial trends on efforts to declassify the drug as a controlled substance. Jim, there were about 40 kids in the class, and
covers a lot of ground.
First of all, yeah, and I was surprised at first of all how many kids were in the class, for one thing, and second of all, just before I started, Reed went around the class and introduced each kid and asked each college student and asked them to briefly describe the papers that they worked on, that they had just completed. And, all of them, they were just great. The range of topics that these students chose was pretty astounding and indicative of the depth of information that they received from this class. So anyway, I spoke for about an hour at the class and answered a bunch of questions, and it was very well received, I thought, and I was very grateful to Reed for the opportunity to address this class.
I noticed, and I really liked the picture. I saw the picture of you two together, and he has like jeans on and a casual shirt, and you were probably the best dressed person in the entire class. But I say that with all love, you know that. I mean,
had my professorial.
Yeah,
attitude
right.
on.
Yeah, that was good though. Well, that's good to be able to talk to people at that stage of their involvement.
Yeah, and I mean, he's really a great guy to be doing it. I mentioned the fact that he was the original legislator who was ready to introduce a medical marijuana bill in 2004, and I mentioned that you had spoken with him, I thought back in the early 90s,
No, it was late 90s.
It was late 90s? Yeah, okay. So, well, I misinformed the class. But
That's
he
okay.
he didn't correct me. So anyway, so it was very good, very good class, and I got to tell him who I was and talk about our meetings, talk about our podcasts, talk about our CMM and JTV, talk about our Facebook page, Friends of the Coalition for Medical Marijuana New Jersey.
Damn, we sound pretty good when you put it all together like that. We're a happening group.
And I handed out literature from New Jersey United for Marijuana Reform.
Good.
And I handed out our little brochure that explains about the endocannabinoid system and, how this really is an emerging science and how I first discovered it in 1993 in Amsterdam when, the receptors were first being discovered in the human body, and I had to go all the way to Europe to find any information about it.
I didn't hear about it for a good long time after that.
Yeah, and
At all.
And so how I've been following the science, and every year they just keep discovering more and more, really interesting things about the science of medical marijuana.
It makes it hard for us in a way when somebody says you think it just helps everything, and what if it did? Why? Yeah, you say that like it's a bad thing.
Right.
It's.
Right.
It's almost wish I almost wish there was a stone cold failure to point to. Like one thing, it does not help at all. What would that be? I know, right? So it's not my fault. Blame God.
Just amazing things that it helps that you never thought. I mean, Jehan Marcou's research at Temple University had to do with the influence of the endocannabinoid system on bone density. I mean, who would have thought that, that
Right.
marijuana
Do you
could,
think it has
marijuana
good
could affect
results
bone
for every
density?
bone density?
But
people.
Some of the researchers said that it's quite possible that marijuana and the cannabinoids could have an influence on every disease system that is known to man. And
That's what I'm saying. That's what you people are saying
Yeah.
all the time. It's the irony that it may be the most astounding plant medically ever by a lot, not just by a little. That there's been such a resistance to it. And how that came about, however long the human race lasts, and I don't know that it's going to be that long, people are going to wonder about that. Future generations where they grow up, where cannabis is not feared, and where they grow up where it has so many uses. It's well, it's worth coming out here for every week, at least for now.
Yeah. Well, and it is, I have to congratulate you, Jim, for doing all this, setting up the tent. Yeah, you got two pop-up tents here, huh?
Yeah, we weren't sure what the weather was going to be, and if anybody, if it's a possibility to rain, then people who do brave the elements now to come out,
It's a
they
cold,
would be able
raw
to.
day today. I have to tell you, if you're inside, stay inside.
Yeah, right. Well, that's why we come to you from the State House. You get to stay inside. And, it is a pleasure to do. And seeing the governor twice last week, you got to talk to Ron Rice.
Yeah.
Lefty followed up with phone calls.
Oh, did he? Good.
And he did great. He called Senator Cruz Perez again, and she mentioned Bill Caruso. And
he spoke with the.
yeah, honestly, I was like getting ready to do something. Sometimes that's how we tag team. We both don't give our all. And basically, when I looked up at Lefty, and he was very impressed by that, and it's like, well, good. Now we've finally gotten somewhere with our calls, and or basically they just outweighted us, and it had nothing to do with us calling, but the forward motion is palatable now, and it seems like we may be back next year, really transferring over to, in a large part, legalization concerns, because if we do this for yet another year, that'll be through the election of our next governor next year.
Right.
Before we'd end the podcast.
17 will be November of 2017 will be the election for the new governor.
And assuming as a Democrat who is extremely supportive, that's the direction it looks like it should run, especially with Senator Sweeney not going to be trying to be nominated. It's going to be interesting. We got chance to make sure all the candidates are very clear on this early on and what it means for legalization, which it's always been about medical for us. And now with the new governor being elected, it's as we've known for 3 years now, that they're the only way that all patients can have this available or anything near that is for it to be legal for adult use.
Yeah, no question about it, Jim.
And, it was nice that our board, of course, voted, I believe, unanimously to that effect, that our, mission statement, as that case may be, reflects that.
Right.
So, this year it's been about adding indications, and we're wondering about the regulations for the post-traumatic stress indication. It's going on 5 weeks now.
Well, there are none. No. People are getting PTSD. People are getting approved for PTSD as long as they can, show that they have failed a conventional
Well, I
course
thought
of
there was
therapy
a
for
way.
PTSD.
Now here, I don't mind
Yeah.
being embarrassingly informed of an issue like this on air real time. The governor had directed the health department to add some regulations.
Well, that seemed to be what he was indicating in his signing statement, but the health department has not done that. They have simply added.
This is the biggest news I've heard. There's been just a lot of
really?
confusion about that.
Yeah,
now.
well, there is confusion, yes, but
Well,
the
not
health-
now.
the health-
There's less now. Thank you to you, Ken Wolski, CEO of CMMMJ.
Well, actually, I have Jan Heffler to thank. I mean, she's the one who called the health department. The
They get
reporter from the
answers.
Philadelphia Inquirer.
Yeah.
And
They inquired.
and she asked, if there were going to be other regulations coming out before people could apply with PTSD for a medical marijuana ID card, and Jan was told no, that's not the case. That these anyone with PTSD and if you failed conventional treatment, you can apply for,
Leo
for
Bridgewater
a
in
medical
the
marijuana
house.
card.
Yeah. So we were just clearing something
Dan?
up, Leo Bridgewater. What's going on?
And
We're just clearing up, and maybe you knew, and maybe everybody else knew but me, that what kind of regulations are going to be added to the post-traumatic stress deal? I mean, nothing.
Nothing.
Okay,
no,
how long have you known this, Leo?
What, like a week after everything? They started.
Yeah.
Get out! I didn't know that. I'm
no,
useless
if-
here.
if-
I'm
if you have
just gonna go be a
post-traumatic stress
producer
disorder, you
instead
can-
of an on-air
you-
doofus.
You can.
This is great news, though. I mean,
Oh, there's one right in front of you.
so we're there.
So yeah, we're there. I mean, about PTSD. If you have post-traumatic stress disorder, reach out to a physician for a. Or they call it a reference number is what you would need, a reference number, and then you apply to the Department of Health for an ID card, and then once you get your ID card, you go down to the Alternative Treatment Center, and you can purchase up to 2 ounces a month of marijuana.
You have to also register.
Here, give my.
You also. Oh, hold on.
I think these are all
I don't know if that's on. And no.
Here, we'll share my mic. Sit down.
Okay.
Oh, you got to lean in.
You also have to register with each alternative treatment center that you visit.
Yes, you can only go to one at a time, and so you do
We
have
can
to
do this.
register with the Alternative Treatment Center. And
So it's doable.
but it's
I mean,
easy enough to change
doable.
your registration if you don't.
Nothing
if you don't like the
onerous at all
particular.
about
No,
that.
no, there's nothing onerous about it. It's the program's in place now, Jim. I mean,
So
it's-
let me ask you a very important question, something we need to deal with. What is it that we would want the administration or the governor to do? How can they help us? I mean, it almost seems like they could stand back and go, the process is working out with the advisory board considering indications. The process is working itself out. In other words, if they say, what do you want us to do? From an administrative level, is there something else we can ask them to do? Why are we here?
the petitions are moving. We expect to hear about the petitions from the panel that the Department of Health put in place to evaluate the petitions to add qualifying conditions. And we just certainly don't expect any kind of interference or naysaying from the administration. Let the panel work it out and have these public hearings. The next step is going to be public hearings on the
Yeah.
petitions.
So-
Jim.
so-
So we have requested that to be added autism, opiate use disorder as a qualifying condition, osteoarthritis as a qualifying condition, neuropathic pain, anxiety, chronic anxiety, and migraine headaches
So-
are the
but
ones
they're-
that we
yeah.
have, in addition to the one that the Drug Policy Alliance submitted, which was for chronic pain. So, let this process work itself out, and don't stand in the way of it. You've established the petition the panel of experts who are going to be evaluating these petitions, and so let them do their work.
I also like being a part of the conversation, being a part of the process of figuring it out, and coming up with the, I do believe that, we've been collectively, if you look at just this group of people here, including Jim, you've got like what, 40, 50 years of activism going on within this right here, and
More than that.
the lawmakers here have only been paying attention to this for a few months now, or at least a couple of weeks, in terms of actually looking at the industry, looking at it from a medical standpoint, from a recreational standpoint. They're brand new to this.
Yeah.
So
Well, it goes back a little farther than that, Leo,
Yeah.
because the bill was introduced in 2005, and we had a series of hearings between 2005 and 2010 about medical. But about the broader legalization and taxation and regulation of marijuana, that is a new game.
that's what I'm talking
yeah,
about.
right.
That's and in that aspect, we should be a part of that conversation.
Yes.
Just based on the fact that we've been doing it, and the idea that we have not been sought out by these people. We've been running and banging on their doors, but no one's actually made a proactive call to us within that building. I find that to be really, really, really troubling.
Yeah, and contrast that with how Pennsylvania is moving forward
Yes.
with its medical marijuana law. And,
Yes.
They put one of the women who is a mother of a child who uses medical marijuana on the advisory board, for their their medical marijuana program. So they can do it. We said before, Leo, it's not for lack of trying. When the medical marijuana law first passed in 2010, I've been a state employee. I was a state employee for almost 25 years then, and I was very familiar with the regulatory process, and I knew how important the development of regulations were going to be in the implementation of this new law. So we sent a formal request to the health department to be at the table when the regulations were initially drawn up. And we got a formal reply back and said, no, we do not want marijuana advocates, to be involved in the development of these regulations. I got that from Commissioner Ali. And so, we said at the time that it was like trying to build a bridge without using bridge engineers,
Right?
So-
Yeah. And
Yeah,
that's a perfect analogy. That's a perfect way of looking at it. And I'm wondering if the same thing is happening here.
Right.
And so my next question is, okay, if this is the way you choose to do it, why? Why are you choosing to do it this way? And the only thing that I can come up with is, and this has been my experience in life, period. When you have made, when in the process of making a point, in the process of making this point, making a particular point that's important to you, you make other people uncomfortable, and then it turns out that you are right. By default, they're going to ignore you because you made them uncomfortable throughout the process, and then you turned out to be right. And they can't have, and so therefore, to save face, so they would much rather exit you out of the conversation as a whole, even though you were the author of the conversation. I find that to be the thing that, again, when I start doing the, what happened and what's going on and who's doing this and why aren't you talking to us, and we're here, we've availed ourselves to you, You know, we're willing to help. We're willing to talk to whomever you would like for us to talk to, and you ignore it, and you just got in this game.
Yeah.
So that tells me, you know, that speaks to, and that's sort of kind of the stuff that speaks to my being nervous about how certain people are going to be phased out of the industry as a whole before it even gets started in the state of New Jersey. You know, and that's that you know, particularly people of color, and
Right.
it has a ripple effect that is very subtle in the beginning, and if you're not to the untrained eye, you wouldn't notice. You wouldn't know.
Yeah, right. And you know, I mean, just the regulations that they come up with for how you define an alternative treatment center. You know,
Keep it moving.
that really.
Keep it moving.
You know, it just seems to, you know, you write those regulations and, you know, you automatically exclude people from it. You know, if you say you need $1 million in the bank, you know, it's like, well, you know, the only place you're going to find people with $1 million in the bank are, you know, corporate or, you know, very wealthy people.
Yeah.
So that's who you're looking to, and you're not looking to, you know, encourage, you know, growth, organic kind of growth from the community.
Yes.
And, you know, we had an interesting conversation with Ron Rice, Senator Ron Rice, the black senator from...
Something I haven't heard in a decade. We've had an
But didn't
interesting conversation with
We
Ron
did.
Rice.
Yeah.
But tell us
yeah.
about that, because
Didn't he vote no?
yes,
Yeah.
what
Well,
happened?
he-
Let me set you up real quick, though. He was here at that gathering of many women put on by some angry New Jersey women.
Women against
Senator-
sexual
yes,
harassment.
Yeah,
Women against sexual
harassment, and the way that the campaign was going, in particular Donald Trump, and we acquiesced and let them be there. Senator Ron Rice was also in, but standing back, not up with the crowd up there.
Right.
And they had a very successful rally. They were very passionate, and I think they had a great day.
Yeah.
And I was happy to be able to at least be able to talk to, and then with some of the people who were there, so we were rubbing elbows a little bit. But Lefty kind of started drifting towards Ron Rice, and I do have an interesting set of pictures as he's each time a little closer and then a little closer. He didn't walk up. He just, you know, he creeped, but he creeped sideways, you know, and you can tell by the grid system of the feet. So look, he's 2 blocks over and 2 blocks up, and now he's only, you know, and then you walked over. What was the conversation for both of you?
I mean, we started talking about you know, marijuana and how the you know, the press conference was going on in the Statehouse, and how, you know, how legalization could really help the inner city community, you know, and how the inner city community and the minorities were being so devastated by this. And we'd hoped that he would, you know, change his mind about his opposition to any type of marijuana reform. So I don't know. He kind of went on when a kind of it was a little difficult to hear because there was you know, people speaking at a microphone too, and but the gist of what I got that he was saying was that he said something about what you were saying, that the solution to having legalized marijuana was going to be imposed on the inner city by people from outside, and he wanted a more organic kind of response, you know, coming from the inner city itself, towards legalization of marijuana and regulation and profiting from the legalization. And so, you know, you know, that's kind of where we left it. But it seemed like he would have been open to marijuana reform if he was certain that this was coming from the black community in the inner cities in New Jersey, rather than being imposed from the outside, from white people.
And that makes no sense at all. That makes absolutely no sense to me.
Well, but no, actually, it makes perfect sense to me.
Explain, please.
And let me explain.
Because was that your impression too?
Exactly.
That's kind of what he was saying.
Yeah, okay.
All right, good.
So let me explain. Since I've been working with you guys, one of the things that I've been saying over and over again is that you are talking about people who are not evolved enough in their way of thinking to understand where we need to be. You're making decisions and you're thinking as if it's 1996 and it's actually 2016. So I'm not surprised that he would say something like that in this, particularly in this forum, not realizing that, one, everything that, first of all, he's actually talking to people who live in this city, in this inner city, in this community. You're actually talking, like when he was in your presence, you were in the presence of someone who's living here. Your boots on the ground.
I know. I'm not a suburban guy myself.
Yeah. So, that again, understand when people. I've already made my mind up about how these people are in here. So to hear that Senator Rice says something like that, it disappoints me, but it doesn't surprise me because I already knew what I was dealing with before I came in here. See, once you realize and make your peace with the fact that these people think the way that they think, then you learn, the next step is to learn not to hold it against them for being the way that they are. And therefore, once you learn that you don't hold it against them for being the way that they are, then you can kind of see beyond what they're able to see. I'm not taking nothing that any of these people say at face value only because it's lip service. I already know how they think of us. I already know what them. And we were punchlines of jokes in there. Yeah. Like that's how they talked about us. And that's a reality, but again, I don't hold it against them. It was just that the only reason why we were the punchline of jokes for them is because they were actually limited in their way of thinking. Mm-hmm. Like what happened a couple of weeks ago when the state senators went out to Colorado and they came back and they came back and they were, oh my God, this is great. We're going to make this. We're going to do well.
They see the money in it.
We're going to
Now, that's what they see.
Now here's the thing. First time I came to see you guys, I talked about the money back in April.
Yeah, that's been talked about as long as laws being reformed. When we met with Mark Cohen from Pennsylvania, how many years ago was that, Ken? Like 10 years ago.
2009.
Yeah. Now,
okay, what the first thing he started making me aware of what you're saying when he said, "Listen, these are all great reasons, but what about the money?"
Yeah.
If he took it. We went out to lunch with him after a meeting. That is a pragmatic way to look at it. So the fact that there's up to $300 million on the table for legalization in New Jersey.
It would save Atlantic City. We could make it the mini Colorado. It could also be a treatment center. I've thought about those hotels and how there could be families that are sick, that are down south, that'll never get the medical marijuana program off the ground.
The whole state's going to be legal in 20 months.
Yeah.
Again,
what did I say?
I'll put that as an over/under.
I've been saying it. Oh my God! And if it's so, y'all, I mean.
Well, there's a plan to that now. There's an actual path to that.
They see the money.
No, they're not just a conceptual. Therefore, it should happen in about. It's gonna has a plan to go so far this year, and the governor, of course, won't have anything to do with it. But it's going to mean the ground running, and they're going to be using it in the budget for next year, and they need that by the end of June 2018. It'll happen in June. It will.
I'm so excited because I feel it coming. And, I got a little inside scoop from our local dispensary in Belmar. I love you guys. They're actually opening in November, they vote in Massachusetts to have recreational. And isn't it funny, they haven't voted yet, but the owner somehow or another is already opening 3 new dispensaries in Massachusetts, which I'm stoked about. But
they have a medical program in Massachusetts, and they're voting to regulate and legalize it in Massachusetts in November, yes.
Yep, and the owner of which is a one-man show, and I really love him because he does try to help the patients out as much as feasibly possible in this Nazi state. But he's opening 3 new locations in Massachusetts, and with that comes, a great network with us, also with Vermont now, and New Jersey and Massachusetts. And, Vermont's going to be full legal. Massachusetts is voting on it. I mean, we're right around the corner. If we can just open our eyes, Governor Christie.
Maine.
But, just to follow up on what you were saying, though, Leo, on one other thing I thought about was, Senator Rice needs to speak with Leo Bridgewater.
There's the connection. I'm
You know,
hearing
yeah,
you have
yeah.
a common interest.
You know,
Yeah, well, I am kind of angry that I wasn't here for that conversation.
Yeah.
Because I really would have looked at him like, bruh.
you know, here I am. Talk to me. You know, hello.
Well, Lefty, where are we?
That's what you
where
mean.
are we standing now in the dialogue with Senator Rice after calling his office? How did that end up?
Yeah, we called his office this morning.
You did?
Yeah, and what was the result?
They're going to call us back, hopefully by 2 o'clock.
Well,
Awesome.
there you go.
And I am here till 2.
Yeah, well, coincidentally, he's somewhere. If he has an office, you could just go on in and meet with him personally.
Yeah.
Or he could say, no, I'm busy.
But, you know, he does have a point in a way. You know, you don't see a lot of support for legalizing marijuana in the inner city.
You don't.
know, I mean,
Well-
so many of the black leaders are, you know,
No.
the ministers are blaming the victims, you know,
Listen,
The
Ken,
blame
in the
game.
community.
I face the frustration and the surprise and all of that. I face that locally here in Trenton, talking to identified community leaders. And when you talk to identified community leaders within the city of Trenton, they are completely ignorant to this whole thing. They have no idea what's the magnitude of what's gone over their heads.
Right.
And the reason for it is marijuana, cannabis has been prevalent within the African American community forever, long before I walked this earth, and so they just don't think much of it. And
That's a shame.
yeah, it's a shame, but in all honesty, it's true. Now, everyone here has a theory on how things got to be so bad within the city of Trenton. But once you get past, and everybody wants to be right, but there's actually no real action step. There's
Just
no
a bunch of
marching
piled up
orders
stuff.
have been issued. And so, for instance, with the success that we've had within the last month and a half or whatever, and the press that we've gotten, believe it or not one community leader has reached out to me.
Of course not. It's
Well, you have
from
to
me
reach
being
out to
just
them.
from the South,
Yeah,
it's
but
such
see,
a
that's the
hard
thing.
dialogue to open up with people that have such a square mindset. If you're a circle, introduce something to a square, and that's just my analogy for it. They don't know how to open the conversation. Sometimes they can be led into the conversation, but who's knocking down their doors to say, hey, let's talk about this?
Here's what I figured out though. They're not equipped for this conversation.
Oh, what's the
We are
what's
here
the
to
fir-
educate
Yeah, right.
them.
They don't want to talk about it.
Yeah.
I mean, we brought
Yeah.
the resolution to legalize,
Yeah.
tax, and regulate marijuana to Trenton City Council. They wouldn't even vote on it. They wouldn't
That's a
even
shame.
discuss
And,
it.
yeah, you know, and the only reason why is because they're not equipped.
Ignorance.
They're not. No. Like, why am I going to sit here? Like, I would never sit here and try to have a conversation with you about mascara. I have no idea how mascara works. I have no idea how
can
to
teach you a
apply
few
it.
things.
No. But what I'm saying to you is, yeah, you know what? Knowing that, and not only do I not know how to apply mascara, what it's all for, I'm not
Hey.
interested in allowing you to teach me about it. And you know why I don't want you to teach me about it? Is because you've been screaming for the last couple of years on the proper way of using mascara. But
I think it's a lot of,
Listen, follow along.
backdoorisms now.
Jesse, follow along with the analogy.
I'm listening, yo.
So if
I'm
you
following closely, and I got a timer on it.
so
Go
if
ahead.
you've been screaming about
I got you.
for years on how to properly use mascara, and then all of a sudden I decide that I want to learn how to use mascara, but I don't want to talk to you because you was loud. That's how they do.
That's just called ignorance.
Yes.
That's called closed-minded, square, not thinking out the box. Your family hasn't been personally affected by a disease that could be treated by cannabis. You don't want to open your eyes and go against Big Pharma because everybody has been doing the Big Pharma shuffle for so freaking long. It's like, why would we want to cure somebody? Why would we want to help somebody? Why would we want to help them in a time of death rather than hooking up a morphine line? Why do I, the rogue hippie, have to deliver the cannabis oils to the dying people on hospice? Why do they reach out for me rather than mainstream medicine? Because you know what? They want a better quality of life in the last few days they got with their family.
Now let me give you a strategic plan here, because this is something that I've researched and looked up. To say that it's Big Pharma when talking about all state senators is wrong. Because
Well, until they make
no,
some moves, I'm
no.
not going to agree with that statement
Yeah,
because
yeah,
right
no.
now they're not making moves and they're still in Big Pharma's pocket as far
Please,
as I'm
don't,
concerned.
you're in the rain. Come on.
Oh, you're
in.
too cute to get wet.
Hi, how are you?
As an assemblywoman, we are not all in Big Pharma's pocket.
Praise the Lord.
Hey,
Thank you.
See, I just said that. I just
Somebody
said that.
stepped up and
I
said
just
it.
said
Praise
that.
the
Would
Lord.
you please identify
You're my idol,
your...
and she looks cute.
What did you
Would
say?
you like to join us for a moment, please?
What's your
Give her a
name?
mic. Give her a mic, Leo.
But I am supportive of medicinal marijuana. I am a Republican assemblywoman. I had a brain aneurysm myself. I suffer
Sorry.
from complex migraines.
sorry that happened, I'm
I
sure.
work with a lot of people who have traumatic brain injury, post-traumatic stress. If there is an alternative that is available that helps people, I am 100% on board.
Thank
That
you
is
Thank you,
so
Assemblywoman.
much and for taking
and
time out
what's
to
your
say
name?
something. Thank you.
Yes.
Holly Shapizi, I'm District 39.
And
Well,
we
you
love
are-
Miss Holly.
Thank you.
Appreciate you stopping by. You got a card, Ken?
Thank you so much.
Okay, can I introduce our guest? I'll let you introduce yourself here. I'm sorry. How you doing, bro?
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Hi, I'm Scott from the Cannabis and Hemp Association. Thanks for having us out here.
Awesome.
Yeah.
You know, it's funny you're here because yesterday we did a cha-cha-cha video.
I saw that. Yeah.
And Adam was there. It was great. It was really cool. So,
Awesome.
Yeah, man. How you been?
I'm great. I'm great.
Cool.
I showed up just in the nick of time to meet the assemblywoman on board. Yeah. How great is that? And I'm wearing my Yes on One Legalize in Maine T-shirt. So
Beautiful.
Showing support
Beautiful.
out there in the Northeast. You know.
Nice.
Hopefully we'll get some ballots passed in the Northeast this coming
Yeah.
election. It'll be great.
Yeah, we're trying.
Real quick, I wanted to, before, the reason why I said what I said about Big Pharma and saying that it doesn't apply to everybody, ask yourself this. It would, depending on who you're talking about, it wouldn't be strategic. There would be no strategic advantage for Big Pharma to be in this person's pocket. You understand what I'm saying? So we can't, so in all honesty, we can't really say that, you know, but what we can't, I mean, not to say that it isn't happening, it's just strategically why, you know, why would Big Pharma be in this person's pocket? It wouldn't make sense, even from a state perspective, you know, so you have to be a lot more detailed and deliberate and, you know, and very, very detailed oriented in terms of when we're addressing the idea and the issue of Big Pharma and politics.
Right, and you know, it's more than Big Pharma too. I mean, the alcohol industry has.
I'm sorry.
You know, other
that was
industries.
just funny. I'm an assemblywoman, and I'm not a big farmer. It's like a big Sopranos. Oh, at that point.
Right after Leo said, to say Big Pharma is not, it's not true.
Yeah, right. You got
Holly
it under the
Shapizi.
gun, man.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry for interrupting, but I found that
It's just, you know, the prison industrial complex is the other
he's
big
like cue the
component.
Correct.
assemblywoman.
Yeah,
It has
now you're
tremendous,
preaching. Now
tremendous
you're preaching.
financial interest in maintaining prohibition of marijuana.
And that's what has Senator Rice's attention.
Yeah.
That's the reason why he wants to hear from more people within the inner city. That's why he wants to hear from more black people, more brown people. That's because for years, and this is again based on my research, having been back in the state now, for years that's what's kept them distracted in terms of, you know, where their attention is. Not understanding, not really making the correlation between, you know, hey, if we decriminalize this, you're going to see a significant decrease in the number of people who look like you, Senator Rice, in the legal system.
Yeah, when I left the Department of Corrections, 86% of the inmates, 27,000 inmates in the state system were black and Hispanic. 86%. I mean, just absolutely disgraceful.
You know, 2 nights ago, another identified community activist within the city of Trenton said, I have been to 30 funerals in 3 years. Now, in my head, the first thing I thought was, 30 funerals in 3 years? I know one thing. If you've been to 30 funerals in 3 years, that has to have done something to you. I'm not saying I know what that something is, but and mind you, we're talking babies. He's like the 30 funerals encompasses all the violence here within the inner city against young African Americans who have been murdered, shot dead in the streets. And this guy has gone to 30 of those types of funerals. And you're telling me that I gotta say, like, dude, every time you do this, something has to come out. Something's got to be taken away from you to constantly see that. Granted, thank you for your service. Thank you for your activism. Thank you for your inspiration. But after 30 funerals, what did you say different at funeral number 30 that you didn't say at funeral number 3? Because it's a mentality thing. It's a citywide sense of apathy. This entire, literally half this city is suffering from PTSD. You can't you get PTSD? Couldn't you? He going to 30 funerals might cause PTSD in some sort of way, you know. And so here we have an opportunity to kill two birds into this state, which is cannabis, and then number 2, address the opioid abuse and addiction epidemic that has run rampant throughout this country, let alone this state and this city.
And the violence associated with the drug war.
Correct.
You know, you're living in a war zone. These inner cities are war zones. Ground zero for the war on drugs. So why are people surprised that there's violence in the inner city?
Yeah, well, understand something. It's a dehumanization type of thing. You know, these people that work in this building here, in these buildings, they drive through this. The only person that flies over it is the governor. But the ones who actually drive in on an everyday basis, you know, they drive through and they see it. I mean, you see it walking up and down the street a lot of times. And so to not bat an eye and not blink or take a double take when you see it tells me you are used to this. This is what your expectation of us is. And a lot of the local residents here are doing the exact same thing. I don't find it I find it more troubling that there are people who are seeing this type of stuff and not thinking anything wrong with it than the people actually doing it. And to me, that's what I find the most troubling, because I say it all the time. Normal, regular people don't live like this. That's period. Normal, regular people don't accept this.
This is why I want you to talk to Senator Rice.
That's
what I want you to say to
full
Senator
circle
Rice.
Back to that.
We will pay your gas to go to Newark if that's where your meeting with Senator Rice is. You know, CMMNJ will subsidize your meeting with Senator
and
Rice.
if you wanted me to do a ride along just in case you needed, you know, factual. Okay, Jim, what's that? You know, or Ken, I mean, if you were available, Ken would be better yet.
Sure.
We're perfectly content to sit there and smile, except for if the senator or somebody says, well, when the law was passed, this is where you would get to sit back and say, look at Ken, and Ken can nod his head or say, that's not actually true.
I'm coming too.
You know what?
I'm coming too.
I'll say this to you too. You guys might want to start getting ready to pack your bags and get your passports together. Because we may be going, no, seriously, we may be going to the UK.
Listen to this. Go ahead, Leo, tell him.
All right, so.
This is great.
I did an interview with, I was contacted by the London office of Vice. And they're in the UK, they are in the midst of the beginning of the whole veteran suicide PTSD. And so, and cannabis. And so at the time that the reporter started doing his research and investigating, our bill had passed. So we were the hotness at the time he started, yeah. So he says, look, I was reading all these stories, and the name that kept coming up was Leo Bridgewater. So I just had to find you. And he sought me out, found me on LinkedIn. So we did an interview for about 2.5 hours, Ken. And at one point he says to me, well, Leo, what do you think should be happening, and what do you think ought to happen? And so my response was this. I said, well, look, when I deployed my last tour of duty in Iraq, it was a NATO mission, and I worked alongside British soldiers. I worked alongside Slovenian soldiers. The whole coalition thing. I worked with these guys, so they were there with me. So all the things that I went through, they went through it with me. I said, what you ought to do is think about imagining your neighbor's kid coming over to your house and telling you while he's playing with your son that your daddy's cheating on mom, the house is under foreclosure, and the car is about to be repossessed. Now your neighbor's business is out in the street.
That's a country song. I've heard it.
Yeah, but what I'm saying to you is that if the next door neighbor's kid came to your house and told you that stuff and you didn't know, now your neighbor's business is out in the streets. So imagine if you had 4 or 5 veterans from over here in the United States come to your parliament and address your parliament and tell your parliament that you don't want to be at 20 to 22 veteran suicides a day. You don't want this problem. You don't want to have, these issues with your veterans. I said the ripple effect would be twofold. One, it'll be like throwing cold water in the faces of lawmakers to wake up, because you really don't want this. And I said, and the second would be the embarrassment of the lawmakers here in the United States, because now outside people from outside know what's going on in our house, and our house ain't as clean as you like to make it seem. So he heard that, and he said, I think I need to put this story on hold, and I need to talk to my editor, because we need to see about trying to get you over here. And I said, okay. I said, well, I know some guys who'd be willing to come with me.
How about that?
So,
Tear Lefty away from his podcast for.
Lefty would pack up all his stuff.
We're going to bring the podcast over there.
Yes.
Yeah.
Now, another thing I want to put out there, some info. January 2nd, at midnight. January 2nd at midnight. I, Leo Bridgewater, and another veteran, Tom O'Neill, will be right here at the old barracks in downtown Trenton, and we are going to do the actual march from the old barracks to the Princeton battlefield to commemorate African American contribution of the Battle of Trenton. And so, if you guys would like, I would love for you guys to be at the battlefield when we get there, along with the other press and all that stuff who's going to be there.
What day is this?
January 2nd.
January 2nd.
Yeah. So if you guys like, I intend to use this midnight. So we probably won't get to the actual battlefield till about maybe 6 or 8 in the morning.
Yeah,
it's a 12-mile walk.
Kind of a long walk. Yeah.
Oh my God. How many joints is that? 4 joints?
Oh, man.
See why I walked here? I'm in training now. I'm not going to look like this by January 2nd.
You better hope it's some good weather, because if you get any kind of snow like that.
Hey, you know what? I got to see what they went through.
Well,
we were there.
They didn't have good weather.
We were there, yeah. We were there. We did it.
If you're really tough, you do it like barefoot, because some have to do it barefoot.
Yeah. But
you're wearing shoes, right?
Well, we're going to have a press conference, and we're going to talk about. We're going to use it to bring up issues that Tom is going to. He's a graduate of Lawrence High School, but lives in Florida, and he's at the forefront of what's going on next Friday when they vote for medical marijuana. And he's, we talked a couple of nights ago, and he feels very confident about them down in Florida, them getting medical marijuana.
It's election day, though, November 8th.
What did I say, next week? I'm sorry, a couple weeks from now. Yeah, but,
that's
that
the
is
same day
week.
of our next meeting. The next Coalition for Medical Marijuana New Jersey meeting is on Election Day at the Lawrence Township Library. Everyone's welcome to come.
Well, they don't
7 to
really
9 p.m.
They don't really kick us out at 9 o'clock. They just close the library.
Right. We could actually stay
We could
later,
stay till like 11 o'clock and get some results and
that would be interesting.
Vaporize.
I like that.
Yeah. I think I'll do that. I will be there.
We stayed there for an hour one time because
Thursday?
you're
Tuesday.
talking that you don't get to talk during
Second
the meeting.
Tuesday of the month,
From 7 to 9.
from 7 to 9 p.m.
Yeah.
Lawrence Township Library.
Well, this is going to be a good
Okay.
one then. That should be interesting.
November
I
the
get out of
8th.
class at 7:40, so I'll just beat feet straight over there.
We'll be there.
Okay, so again, guys, I mean, I want you guys to come out, and support and, really like maybe drive the route and passes to make sure I'm okay. Lefty, you can hand me a
Yeah, well, it's good to have sport vehicle.
Bring your lighter. Bring a torch.
yeah.
You're not allowed in the car to warm up.
Sir?
They didn't have cars to warm up in.
How are you?
No, you know what I mean. You certainly. I've done enough walks, and actually, I did a long walk in the winter that didn't work because it was too long. But you're talking about how many miles?
12.
That's a pretty good walk.
It's in my head. I'm like, okay, this is a 6K rough march. Okay, here we go. That's the way I'm gonna, at least approach, broach the idea or whatever. Yeah. But here's the thing: for the last couple of weeks, I've been, pumping myself up in my head. You're gonna do this. You can do this.
Yeah, well, you can't fail.
Yeah, it's not an option.
So basically, you'll learn one way or the other exactly how hard it is, and you'll do what it takes.
Mm-hmm.
And if it gets somebody there at the end to help pass along your message, then it's worth it.
So we're moving along. We're trying to get things going. I mean, again, paying attention, looking at what's happening here, particularly, within the state of New Jersey, and how these, what these senators are proposing and considering. And like I said, the biggest thing that I find to be troubling is not being part of the discussion, especially having gone through all the things that we've gone
Let's
through.
start with a focus and laser focus on Ron Rice and what's the next step, how did we go about it, plan, execute it, to have that conversation. And that should be one between you and him, and if Ken or me or anybody else was there, it would only be relevant to being clear on where we are legally and statute-wise. Ken would be great for that.
Yeah, well, let's set it up. I mean, the three of us can go out
this
there and
is
do it.
which would make an interesting diversion from.
Hey, what do you mean 3? 4? I'm going 2.
Oh, so the four of us can
I'm
go.
going, and
You could do a podcast.
Well, he started it. Lefty
Yeah.
started it.
And I'm wearing my shirt. I don't care what you say.
I don't care if you wear that shirt. Yeah, wear that shirt. Wear that shirt. That would actually help with the
I know.
the actual conversation.
I'll just
too.
keep quiet in the corner in my shirt.
Yeah, well, the shirt. Your silence will speak volumes.
That's
Lefty.
all. Yeah, there you go.
Well, you know what? So as not to overwhelm him, you could just hook me up on
Why
speed
not?
dial. I'll sit at my computer at home, and if there's anything you needed, Jim, find out was that. Well, I'll research it real quick and get back to you.
No. I think you should be in the room too, because see, the thing is that
You don't want to scare him.
throughout here's
Why
the thing.
not?
I don't want to. You know what? There's strength in numbers. Number one,
Yeah.
and number two.
That's what would scare him.
The thing is that what I told you before, what I really want is I want us to be a group that you have to come talk to.
Yes.
In this regard.
Damn right.
When you're dealing as far as the state of New Jersey goes. So if you are running for any kind of office, the Coalition for Medical Marijuana in New Jersey is a group that you need to go talk to, just like you got to talk to the angry women or mad mothers.
No. The women, when I said they're angry, they were angry with the cause. It was about sexual harassment, sexual.
Isn't there like some powerful women's group in this state? I want that kind of.
Well, you better learn about them first. I
No,
don't
no.
know.
But what I'm saying to
They know
you
who we
is
are,
that
though.
if you were running for something, there are certain groups that you got to go talk to.
Really would.
CMMNJ needs to be a group that you need to come talk to.
We like to approach candidates
who,
at times, like in other words, the next cycle, next year when the state legislature is all up for election, the assembly anyway.
there's another group that you all need to talk to, and it's the Cannabis and Hemp Association.
Okay.
Yay.
I love those guys.
Thank you. Hey, it was great having you down at the CHA event we did the other day.
That was great.
Did you have fun?
Yeah. Oh my God, that was amazing.
Yeah.
Absolutely
okay.
amazing.
No, you gave a good speech. It was very inspirational.
Really?
Yeah, I liked it. I
Good.
recorded it. I threw it up on Instagram. I
Nice.
made sure the world knew. You know, I love what you're doing here, right here at the Statehouse. So, who was the catalyst of getting this whole thing started?
Jenny Storms started this whole thing.
Yeah,
and Jax.
there's a 3-year history.
Yeah.
Jenny Storms decided, well, I'm gonna have a protest every week at the State House. Now, I, having been protesting at the State House since 1993, thought that's a big bite to chew. You know, I would never do. I would maybe once a month and all. And she's like an Energizer bunny.
Yeah, she's
but
great.
And who knows how long it would have kept up? But she had to move with her son to Colorado for his health reasons, which left me in a position to say, okay, we'll run it out to Thanksgiving this year. And the next year we started, I wasn't really into it, and Lefty said, oh, yeah, well, we could do a podcast. So we started with the podcast then last year. And so, you know, I maintain the equipment, take it home, back out, set up the cones, and I get set up before Lefty comes. We're getting like clockwork with this, you know.
Yeah.
And we try to get it set up by 11. So Jenny Storms, without her putting it in motion, we certainly wouldn't have been doing it.
Nope.
But the numbers now, you know, there were 21 informational protests, followed by now, this is our 63rd podcast. Wow. So this is our 84th Thursday gathering without missing a beat between beginning of June 1914. We go from the after the last Thursday in March, the first Thursday in April we start, and go to Thanksgiving. And next year it's going to be really morphing over into legalization efforts because they're going to get very serious here, and it does look like June of 2010, there's every opportunity for this to be signed into law.
Wait, 2010 or 2020?
I mean, I'm sorry, 2018.
18.
Yeah, 2018.
Okay.
2 years.
2 years.
I don't know what.
How many months are we counting down?
20.
20 months?
Yeah.
Countdown?
And the countdown. And the reason is, by state constitution, New Jersey has to have a balanced budget in place by the end of June. And having $300 million that they could earmark and say, well, if we pass this first, then we can real quick put that into the budget, which helps to keep from cutting services or raising taxes or whatever. I calculate that $300 million to be about half of the gas tax of 23 cents a gallon, so people can relate to that. It's like, well, if we had legal cannabis consumption, you know, it would have been far less of a bite raising gas tax on a gallon of gas. So, yeah, 20 months. And then we don't have to do this anymore pretty soon.
Not here.
There'll always be somewhere that
We've
needs.
met like 5 times.
The ignorance is no
All right,
excuse,
great.
Tor.
It's all right.
My memory is
It's
not
all right.
what it used to be.
What's the matter, Ken?
No, he doesn't remember me. I said, hey, we've met like 5 times. That's all.
Whenever I hang out with you, I lose my memory. Every time I hang
It's
out
okay.
with you.
Welcome to the cannabis activism group. You know, every time we meet each other, we reintroduce each other to each other.
remember
right?
you.
Yeah. Who are you?
We smoked a lot, but I don't want
So
your
tell
name.
me about yourself. What is it that you do?
Right, exactly.
Ken, if you want to.
Yeah, Scott, what is it you do?
Who is that?
Yes. So we have a activist group.
Assembly Ken,
here he
Assemblyman
is. Here he is.
Eustace, if you want to say hi.
There he is again.
Oh,
I'd love to get a picture with him.
if you.
Sorry, Scott. It's
Oh, that's okay.
You,
I'd love to get a picture with the senator. You gonna get a picture with the senator, Jim? All right, you do it. All right, sorry about that, Scott.
Hey, it's all right. No
Senator.
problem. I break for senators myself.
Yeah, totally, man. Yeah, what are you gonna do?
Yeah.
It's a busy area here, and they're actually all obeying the cones. I love how everybody obeys the traffic cones here. Thank you for obeying the cones and the traffic study, the foot traffic study. Oh, the senator is breaking the,
All right.
the cone. Okay, cool. I want to get a picture with the senator.
Should I grab a cone?
if you would. You know, I like when people appreciate the humor of this is significant to roadblocks to our medical marijuana program. It's significant to roadblocks everywhere. But yeah, just as long as we have a picture, because we got to show the cool people hang out with us too.
I love the shirt.
Right.
Sons of Black. That's a great shirt.
It's a shame we have to make these shirts. It's a shame.
Yeah, it really is.
Yeah, I sell these, $15. $10 for you. I'll give you one. Actually, you want one?
Yeah, well, come
Would
on.
you like, I'll get you one. Hold
You got to learn how this works. You don't.
Right back.
This is,
I'm a state employee.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Oh, there you go. And this is all like, it's a podcast, so there's documentation. So, what was I saying?
There you go. Thank you, Senator.
So, yeah, and
Oh, sorry, sir.
yeah, the sign, the explanation for the cones does get pretty good notice coming by, and last week in particular, when there was many people voicing their concern over the tone of the election conversation, and yeah, it got a lot of due notice, and the thing is, the playing field is not slanted in our favor, but we own this once a week. We get to do this. It's all we got. And I did tell the governor, first day he came by, we're just setting up, I said, we will not do this if we have a seat at your table. Once a month to be able to talk to somebody so we can voice our concerns, and you don't get to say, we didn't know that would happen. And he chose not to take the suggestion, so here we are. We come front door first. We try the front door approach every time.
Thank you. Assemblyman.
Oh, yeah, I'm such a technical dinosaur here.
And we were just so grateful at the press conference, when that Senator Scutari held last week, I guess it was, where he talked about the trip to Colorado and all, and there were so many positive things about the trip, and so much support for marijuana legalization, as a result of that trip. So, and you were at the press conference. Were you at Colorado too?
I did not go to Colorado. I don't go to Colorado unless there's snow in the mountains.
I skier.
I'm with you.
Yeah.
We're pushing to expand the medical marijuana program, and it seems like the legislators are coming to their senses about what needs to be done for marijuana in this state.
Well, thank you so much,
Yeah.
Assemblyman Eustace,
Thank you.
for your support.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
For
Assemblyman.
marijuana.
Thanks
You're
for
welcome.
stopping
You're very
by.
welcome.
Hey, that's good news.
This is a nice spot today,
Okay, that just made my day. This has been a good day for me. I don't know about you guys.
Is this how it works? Every 15 minutes, an assemblyman or a senator drops by to say
Yeah,
how great marijuana
it
is?
seems
or what?
it seems that way, doesn't it? And the governor came by twice last week and didn't voice those sentiments, but
Oh, wow.
he did have to walk through these cones in this setup twice last week. Lefty escorted him in.
Okay.
It-
Well, maybe
while
today's our lucky day.
videotaping.
Maybe Christie will come over and express his newfound devotion for cannabis.
Yeah,
That
well,
would be
you
something
never
else.
know. And then he'd
It's
have
just
to take
because the
that mask
Cannabis
off.
and Hemp Association is here. It just allures so many great vibes around the cannabis plant.
I told him, I told him I could make him a real rock star if he wanted to have a pivotal moment in his career. He could come by with a Christie mask on and sit down at our thing, and people think we were goofing, and then take the mask off, and it would really be him. How cool would that be, right?
Hey.
Would that be a knockout blow?
A watershed moment
Yeah, it
right
would.
there. Yeah.
But then again, we don't have a seat at this table, so I can't suggest it. Or I would. You throw it and see if it sticks. But looks like we're going to do I almost tell out of my peripheral vision when Lefty's getting ready to have a phone call.
No,
It
I'm
must
putting
be
that picture of the assemblyman with "Don't Shoot I'm White" shirt on the
I didn't-
Facebook.
Wrong again, Jim. Wrong
That's pretty
again,
awesome.
Jimmy.
This just made my day.
Yeah.
That was good. Yeah.
Well, I have to get a move on, so carry on. I'd like to be with you here all night, but I can't.
Yeah, I know. Well, I'm hands in my pockets half of this one here.
Take care, Ken.
Yeah, the state police came out because I forgot to go in for the permit. And a really nice trooper, a woman, and she gently scolded me for you have to come in, and she just asked me, so why are you quitting after 3 more? Because I told her we got 3 more, and I'm like, look at me, come on, think. This doesn't work much after Thanksgiving. And then take it easy, Ken. Ken Walski. All right.
Have a good day, Ken.
Yay.
CEO is no longer in the
What a
house.
hero.
Leaving the house.
What a fighter.
But I explained it to the trooper that lefty in the cold. This is going to be, it's certainly more painful than in heat.
Oh, today's bad.
Yeah.
So Scott, what's going on with you? Anything? Any events coming up where I can go to?
Actually, New York University, we're doing a big event.
Nice.
November 18th, we have Assemblyman Gottfried, New York State Assemblyman. He's the one who wrote the original Compassionate Care Act that got obliterated by the governor.
Really?
Yeah, the good act, the one that had in-home cultivation
When was
and
that?
flower and all the good stuff.
Okay.
That before that got passed on to Senator Savino, she made alterations that she thought the government would approve, but then in the 11th hour, the governor literally just shredded, most of the good parts of the bill. But in order to get it passed, this is what she did, and I think she made the right move because now in less than a year, they're making a lot of consolidations back to what she asked for, like doubling the amount of registered organizations, which would double the amount of dispensaries.
Okay.
They're going to allow for delivery of cannabis. So we're going to have Assemblyman Gottfried. We have Brian Clenahan, who is Senator Savino's chief of staff. Jason Cranford, who's a well-known businessman and activist out of Colorado. He developed the Haley's Hope medicine. He's actually flying in from Colorado for the event. We have 2 more panelists. We have a representative from PharmaCannis. They're one of the 5 registered organizations in New York State. And we have a representative from Vireo Health, and they're one of the 5 registered organizations. So we're going to have representatives from 2 of the dispensary owners, or registered organizations as we call them in New York, a top business leader from Colorado, and 2 people in the public sector that are going to be joining us for that event on the 18th. So I'm excited. I'm also going to give a presentation on careers in the cannabis industry because it's going to be at a school and a university. There's going to be a lot of students there. So I want to show them, where they can look to maybe find some opportunities in this field. So, yeah, and a really great conversation that you guys are having today about the machinations of what's happening here in New Jersey, and interested to see how the medical program would hold up against the recreational program, because the medical program here is so
Thanks,
thank
man.
you. It's
It'll add
so
up. Thanks.
such a disaster. Like, I don't know if they ever approved edibles but last time I
Not
checked,
for adults
it
yet,
was
no.
flower only, and it's just very challenging to actually create real medicine when you're only dealing with whole plant, which I don't have a problem with that. But at the same time, if we want to start getting into more sophisticated delivery systems to really deal with people's problems, you need highly concentrated cannabis, hundreds of milligrams, if not thousands of milligrams, to treat people with severe health conditions. And I'd like to see an expansion in New Jersey in that regard. And we've already seen in Washington where they've done away with the medical program because the recreational program was too powerful. And I'm concerned that New Jersey is going to fall behind if that were to happen here because of the problem that this medical program never really got off the ground. And then, your patient count is very low, and then you're going to flood the place with recreational, which I think will expand access, but it may not be taken as a serious medicine to those people who really do need it in need. So, it's one of those things. I mean, right now, across the United States, these medical and recreational programs it's so challenging. I don't see any state that's really kind of doing it right. Every state runs the risk. Like, for example, in Colorado, their medical program took a huge hit with recreational. A lot of those businesses crossed over from medical to recreational. They used to be medical. They did away with that license. They went into recreational. Some are operating in both. But it's like a confusing market. Like, it's not like people really don't distinguish across the nation a very strong medical program and a very strong recreational program. Maybe Colorado's the best example, but Oregon's having problems getting recreational off the ground. And I'm concerned about the future of medical in Maine when they go recreational, how that's going to impact the caregivers and those people, and I'm very concerned for...
Why? Why are you concerned? What do you think is going to happen?
Well, first and foremost, like right now, if you're a patient and you're bound to a caregiver, that caregiver is, unless you're going to the black market, is supplying you with everything you have, and as a very small business owner, they're going to be limited to number one, legislatively, on a regulatory level, they are limited as to what products they can create. They're limited as to how many people they can serve. So if you're a medical patient, there's a good chance you're not going to be able to get everything you need from that family that's caring for you.
Okay.
So once recreational comes on board, it allows them to basically break ranks from their caregivers and go shopping. Being somebody who's been on the ground in Maine and at some of these conferences, the majority of the patients I'm seeing are people that are not necessarily using this for the more debilitating conditions in most cases. You have a lot of people that are, have just pain, chronic pain, or just basic pain. That's something that, you might want to just go and get from a recreational dispensary. So now it just makes it a little bit more challenging. And then when you look at the patient count, I don't know. I'm just concerned that there's going to be a big allure around the recreational aspect. And a lot of the caregivers, families that have been making a living legally off cannabis, may turn back to the black market is a concern of mine. And also in California, I'm concerned there as well because you have a lot of collectives and people that were legally, getting their medicine. But now, like when let's say legalization is to happen in California, some of those penalties that weren't there previously are going to be there for, let's say specifically, if you're caught making butane hash oil at your house. I saw things like a $50,000 fine and years of imprisonment for making BHO at the house. Things like that aren't currently in the law, but that's going to be specified, and those sort of things are very concerning for a market like that that's been operating for so long. All of a sudden, those people are going to be expected to dial back their activities.
Well, there is a concern because in New Jersey, I'd hate to bring this up, but in New York, there was recently a fire chief or a fire captain killed because the house was making BHO. Mm-hmm. What do we do about that to regulate, to have these people not make this oil improperly? I mean, how do we get these people to fix their processes?
Well, I totally think that that's a legitimate concern, but realistically, I don't think that these issues are happening so frequently that the majority of people that are doing them, need to be punished for that. And also, I look at just the amount of things. I just feel that cannabis is like, yes, there are going to be social costs to legalization. There already are social costs to legalization, but America's war on its own people is the most catastrophic thing. I mean, there's more resources given to enforcement of cannabis than there is to human trafficking and like pedophilia and shit like that. It's horrible that the resources that we could be redirected into actually cleaning up people that are destroying the lives of young people and America's most exposed or helpless population. Instead, throughout my life, my first time I got arrested for cannabis, I was 16 years old. I've been arrested. The first time?
How many times?
At least 10.
Whoa!
I don't even know why I'm not. I don't even know why I'm.
You're white.
Yeah.
An estimate.
I don't even know why I'm in jail. I mean, I should be. I will be in jail at some point for a long period of time.
Holy
I mean,
crap.
It's just the way life's trending. But
And you've made your peace with that. Like the way you said it, so matter of fact.
Yeah.
Like it's like, he's really made his.
You're
peace
not
with
mad?
that.
You're not pissed off 10 times? That's a lot.
And I haven't been arrested
Excuse me.
yet.
Nobody fights as hard for legalization as
would
I
say,
do.
you're
And
right.
anybody who knows me knows that I will literally run for a wall
That's bullshit,
for legalization.
man.
I'm as hardcore of an activist as you're gonna find. I mean, that's why I run. I run the risk of doing significant time, but this is a mission that I believe, like, if you look back in history at the activists that were the most powerful and fought the most, those are the people that were directly impacted by the laws that were skewed against them. You look at Frederick Douglass and Harriet Tubman and people like that. These people were directly impacted by the shitty and oppressive laws that caused them so much distress, and they fought back 10 times harder. The more that they're going to keep pushing me, the harder and harder I'm going to fight. And I mean, ultimately, if they throw me in jail for the rest of my life, then I'm just going to have to figure out a way to fight with letters. I don't know.
Yeah, of course.
Be my man on Shawshank, for that prison library. But you know what?
I've already lost the respect of my family years ago when I was
wow.
16. They love me,
Right.
but they think I'm out of my mind and I'm insane.
You're a pothead.
Yeah, But they don't realize that what I've been doing has been essential to my quality of life, and look, I'll put it to you this way: I've been an activist, like hardcore, for the last 2.5 years. I've been an advocate for the last 20 years, and the fire just grows and grows. But now I work so hard to inspire so many people that even if I were to be taken off the street for a few years, 5, 10, whatever that number is, I'd like to believe that people will be like, hey, I remember that guy did so much for the movement. Now he's gone and nothing's happening. Maybe somebody else will step up in my place, because I got tired of sitting around waiting for other people to do stuff.
There's a lot of other people doing stuff.
Well,
you're not the only one.
Excuse me, with all due respect, why isn't there a crowd of about 1,000 people out here
Okay.
based on the percentage of,
Thank you.
Don't be an apologist for the thousands of people that have been impacted by this
damn right.
plant. Do not be I'm not going to sit
You're
here
damn right.
at a table
First
with
of
an
all,
advocate
lower your voice.
who's going to be an apologist.
Lower your
he's right.
voice.
Excuse me.
He's right.
No, stop saying excuse me and let me have something to say. First of all, do you know who I am?
No.
Then how are you having this conversation and you have no idea who I am?
Because I really don't care. What I care about is what you just said. And you're letting off the hook thousands of people that have been impacted by this plant, whose lives have been destroyed over this plant. You should not do that. These people should be here. They should be active, and they should have a serious gripe about what happened.
Now the people we're trying to impact mostly are patients. We're trying to help them. It's hard for them to get out here. This is why we have a podcast, not just a lay mass protest where there's no people. We do this so people don't have to come out here. We do that so that they can take part without having to come out here, because I'm not done.
That's
we don't
true.
have it on a Saturday when everybody can get great attendance. Yeah, we could have hundreds of people come out on a Saturday, but we are here, as you've seen, dealing with legislators walking in and out on a pretty sound basis. So I'd say we're doing okay. We talk to more legislators than regular people today. How is that a bad thing? Explain that to me.
Sure, I'd be happy to. Number one, I think what you're saying is somewhat sensible, but let me ask you this question. Do you have an endocannabinoid system?
Yeah.
Does the guy walking the street who doesn't smoke weed have an endocannabinoid system?
I don't know. I'd have to research
Yes.
it. Of course.
Yeah.
Okay, all right, good. I want to
questions
make sure that you
notwithstanding.
understand the
No, that's a
basis.
rhetorical question.
No,
you know I understand
because
that.
what I'm saying is...
Don't treat me like that. Don't be condescending to me. And then I want to tell you who I am, so you'll leave here knowing who I am.
Well, very nice. But what I'm here to do is have a conversation, and I'm just responding to what you're saying. And with all due respect, whoever you are, I respect everybody individually. But I personally have a problem with letting people off the hook for being activists that have been impacted by this plant. I personally believe. Excuse me.
No, I want to make sure I understand.
Can I speak now?
I'd like to understand what you're saying.
I'm trying to be clear.
Speak, Scott. No, go ahead, Scott.
Go ahead. I just want to make sure I'm clear.
I
on
sat
what
here
you're
for an
saying.
hour and listened to you guys
ahead,
like
Scott.
this. I got something to say. I'm going to say it, okay? I was invited on the show. I'd like to just say what I have to say. The point is I think the qualifying conditions are bullshit. If I have an endocannabinoid system, I deserve supplementation of cannabinoids to supplement my cannabinoid
Absolutely
system. What
correct.
you said is that you're here for the patients. Well, I say that we're all patients by virtue of the fact that we have an endocannabinoid
We agree
system.
then.
Well,
We
then
agree
we're
on
going to have to
everything you
agree to
just said.
disagree on something,
No,
because you're
but
telling me
what
that
is
you
that?
feel bad for everybody who's sitting at home and couldn't make it down here.
Dude, first of all, we just agreed on everything you said. I agree. And I've had these opinions for a really long time. I saw this through being married to a woman who could only move her head because she had multiple sclerosis and was told she couldn't do this in New Jersey back in the dark ages, in the 1990s. I came here with my wife, put her in a hospital bed at this freaking Statehouse in New Jersey in 1997. How long ago was that? In 1997, to go out, commit an act of civil disobedience in front of state troopers with a woman who could only move her head because that was the only way I could get the press out and involved. And this was not the beginning. I pushed her wheelchair across the state, 58 miles in 25 hours with a sign that said multiple sclerosis, medical marijuana for multiple sclerosis. In 93, for crying out loud, there was no state law, there was no federal law. I worked my butt off. So if I get upset when somebody sits down and lectures me with attitude on my own podcast, forgive me. But I want to understand, we are going the same direction. You have a passion I love, my friend. My name's Jim Miller. All
Thank
right?
you, thank you, thank
no,
you.
I want to make sure I
Listen,
understand your name.
I respect everything that you've done, but I don't personally. I don't like it when people say that it's okay
I don't
for
want to
people
interrupt, but I
to
do want
sit
to
home and not
understand.
be more
I don't know
we need
where,
more people
where
coming
did I let
to
anybody
help.
off the hook? No, I mean, I may well have it. I'll go back and look at it because I don't like letting people off the hook. I'm a guy who says I want my own Nuremberg trials. When it's all over, nobody walks away free.
Damn
That's
right,
me.
man.
Right? Everybody knows
ain't
me
done.
that way. So if I inadvertently said something that appeared to let somebody off the hook, I'd like to understand where did that happen?
Well,
Where did those wheels fall off?
I understand that there is a small percentage of medical patients that are using cannabis right now that can't make it down here. But there's, like I said, everybody has an endocannabinoid system. Everybody should be concerned about their future medical conditions or their family's future medical conditions.
We don't. It's apparently really hard, and Lefty will tell you, I've been on the opposite side of this, doing what you're doing and taking crap from people about why they can't get down. I mean, real crap about that. And the reason we kind of gravitated to a podcast is there's, no traffic here, except for legislators. And we couldn't get people down. And then when we did, it was like herding cats. And the governor would show up and there'd be 8 people. And he'd walk on by and we couldn't communicate and legislators were passing us by. As soon as people stopped coming, we became a valid podcast and everybody started stopping by who as you saw today, legislators and the governor, and we poke them pretty good. And by the way, the governor ain't getting let off the hook. Look at these cones I bring every day, you know?
He obeys the foot traffic study.
So what basically, you are sitting amongst people who are just as committed as you are. In their
I
own
understand
way.
that. No
And
question
it's
about
just-
it. Look at what you guys are doing.
And listening to you, I'm saying to myself, like, you know, like me, I'm a veteran, you know, and I've done 6 tours in Iraq, 4 in Afghanistan, both as a soldier and a contractor, you know, literally boots on the ground, and have done some really amazing things to come back to find that this is what's happening to my city, because you're sitting in my backyard. I was born and raised right here in this city. And so though you're willing to go to jail for it, you're willing to, for how you feel, and I so admire that, you know, I live in it. You understand what I'm saying? So, so you're amongst friends.
I know that.
You know,
There's no question.
And then, of course, I know you know what this crazy does. But you gotta love them.
Listen,
you know,
I don't
so,
question anybody at this table and the work that they've done or will do.
Right. Now, this is not a kiss the ring type of thing either.
Of course.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. But at the same time, you know, like, we have to, like you said, we got to agree to disagree on some things.
Of course.
But at the same time, we also need to understand, that's what we're trying to do, understand, you know, what is your method of thinking? How should we, because obviously we're not thinking about it the way you feel as though we should be thinking.
I didn't say that.
No, I'm saying, like, where was because you said you let people off the hook and everything. So what was it that let people off the hook? So
People don't show up. People don't show up.
Yeah, because, like, for me, like, one of my biggest frustrations, which has always been, is the fact that based on the things that we are talking about, everybody should be out here listening to this.
Exactly. That's what.
And they're not.
Can I just piggyback off what you're saying right now? All I was trying to say is, we sit here and we spew numbers about how many people have been arrested and how many lives have been impacted unjustly. Well, where are those thousands of people who why are we sitting here crying for them? Why aren't they crying for themselves? I'm here crying for myself. I'm here pissed off, saying what I got to say, and I'm doing what I got to do on a day-to-day basis because I don't want to get arrested in the future and be faced with those harsh penalties. Why aren't these other people stepping up for themselves and speaking up for themselves? That's all I'm saying.
There's healthy people out there.
And there's way more healthy people out there than there is that are terminal sitting in their beds right now. And I meet so many people that are just like, hey, you know, I just want to get high. It's like, well,
good. Where are you?
Fine. You want to
Where's
get
all the
high?
stoners?
Where are you?
Where are all the stoners in New Jersey?
Yeah.
Where?
That's what I'm wondering often, more than the patients who have somewhat legitimate
like
reasons.
in all honesty, this entire city should be here.
You know,
you shouldn't be able to get past the citizens of Trenton. Like, y'all should be out here. Every single one of y'all should be right. Like, this whole block should be filled with people from Trenton. And then you go 2 blocks later, then you got people from Lawrence, people from Ewing, like y'all all should be out here hooping and hollering about.
Okay, so I said what I said because I wanted to hear what you just said come out of your mouth, because that's the reality. Is we
And
can't
that's why we. That's
all
what
I said is we can't be apologizing for people to be staying
and that's
home.
our common denominator,
And,
because this is because the reason why y'all not out here is because y'all don't know to think this way.
You know, a lot of these people do know to think this way, and there's a lot less fun things that they're probably doing right now. They could be out here having this conversation with us.
It's much better when someone
right
else
now.
would do it for you when you. Yeah.
That's the best part about activism is the people that you meet. They share similar experiences. They are in like mind. You have things in common with them. And
we've all been labeled crazy.
Yeah, and let me say this. You know, when I was growing up, I was very passionate about this plan, as I've already disclosed from a young age. But all the people in my circle didn't really get it. I mean, they like to smoke it, they like to enjoy it, but they didn't really understand my passion for it. When I became an activist, I was surrounded by people that understood my passion, and that just fueled my fire even more.
Yeah.
So for those people that have that passion inside of them, they're talking about cannabis to all their friends, and they just don't get it. You know, they should be out here with people that get it. That's all I'm trying to say.
Yep. You find you find yourself meeting people who were just as alone in your way of thinking in their own circles before you met you.
Yeah,
because like a lot of times the way I look at people, I'm at the point now where I'm very forward now, and because I understand that there is a way of thinking that should be in place, and so rather than just talk about it, I actually live it. And so I use very strong words, because sometimes, I think forever people have been too nice about this. This is and being too nice about this and being all subtle about it and behind the scenes with it has brought us to this point, and this is not okay. Where we are right now, for me, everything's local. I live here, and I was telling them, I had a guy tell me the other day that he'd been to 30 funerals in 3 years. And you said, and I'm thinking to myself, you said that like you said you've been to
Walmart 30 times in 3 years.
Yeah. That's exactly how it came across. And I'm in my head, I'm thinking, well, that don't seem odd to you. That don't do nothing.
Don't shake
to
you up at all, buddy.
Yeah, 30 funerals in 3 years. That's not
That's
good.
not normal. Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
It's not normal.
But you know what? Everybody who responded to that and everything like that didn't even catch that part. That way of thinking going over their head, no one ever mentioned that. You know what they all said? Thank you for everything you do. Keep fighting the good fight. Keep doing this, keep doing that. I'm the only one who's saying, yo, man, you are. That's not good. I don't care how much activism you do. 30 funerals in 3 years. I mean, damn, Malcolm and them ain't put that many friends in the ground. You understand what I'm saying? Like it ain't go down.
No, I don't understand it. Actually, I don't get it.
Right.
I don't get it.
Right. You know what I'm saying? And so like, I get it, man. And I walk around this city and I say to myself, like, there's an industry we could bring here. This is the capital city of the second wealthiest state in the country.
Trenton makes.
Yeah.
We're depending on the legislators to do all the heavy lifting for us, and that's the problem with all the laws that are going on in the country. It's like everybody's waiting for the big corporation to fund the legalization initiative, which monopoly for them.
Exactly.
Rather
than, but you talk about small business owners and all that stuff. Like, this is there has been a level of oxymoronic the reason why this city looks the way it does is because we getting our money's worth. 9,000 people out, voting tells me that there has not been a death in this city that has galvanized the people to re-engage in the political process. And bro, we talking babies and old people have gotten killed. Yeah, you might hoop and holler and all that other stuff, but when it actually comes to doing the real work, like you said, why aren't you out here on voting day? Only 9,000. And I can imagine most of that 9,000 was old people. Because these young people here in our generation, this way of thinking about not even being a part and engaging in the political process, this whole thing has now gone generational in this city. So you got 18-year-olds, 20-something-year-olds, and 30-something-year-olds, and 40-something-year-olds who have totally checked out of the political process. That those numbers I gave you in 2014 backs that up. So if you're a minister in this city, 9,000 people voting, that says that's your fault. If you're a community activist in this city, though that number says not good enough. If you, for the capital city of the state of New Jersey, see, there's no accountability here. 9,000 says you're not having elections, you're having popularity contests, which is indicative of the regular politics, because like I said, these people ride through this. They don't live in this city, but they ride through it. And most of them do their best to avoid it altogether by just jumping on this highway right here. But it's a dehumanization thing. It's like we're not deserving of it. But ask yourself this: if you were to jump in your car and drive 1 hour in any direction, where could you be? And if you go south, you can you be in Philly in a half hour. If you went north, you'd be in New York City, Midtown Manhattan, matter of fact, in an hour. If you went east, you'd be at the beach. So this 7.5 square miles is prime time real estate. Because when you think about it, when you really think about it, you could do something. This city got some good old bones. The Roebling and all that. There's a lot of old. This city has history. It's the people. And so what I am fighting for is I'm fighting for an industry. I want the city of Trenton to be in lockstep with the state as they start to move over to to the industry. I want to bring this industry into this city because that's what we need. And part of bringing that industry into this city is, first, we need to decriminalize it because we need money. We need money. And by the time the border communities like Ewing, Lawrence, Hamilton, Mooresville, and Pennsylvania, those are the municipalities that surround this city. By the time they figure out what the hell we done did here in this city by totally decriminalizing it, we done got some money, because see, they already coming to this city to get their drugs anyway. But what you also do is you effectively make it so that you're lowering the number of people going in and out of that courthouse and into the prison industrial complex. And we're taking something off the table as far as the conversations between me and the cops. Considering what's been going on lately with the cops, wouldn't you like to kind of lighten the load? It kind of makes sense. You see what I'm saying? But they don't see that. They don't understand that.
All that they know are two words: asset forfeiture. That's it.
Yeah.
Cannabis is the perfect thing to seize people's assets.
Yeah.
They'll catch you smoking. They'll seize your car. They'll impound your car. They'll sell it. They'll get $20,000 off of the smell of a joint in your car. You know that in New Jersey, I received a DUI for the smell of cannabis.
Whoa. Yes.
For the smell of cannabis. I was driving, got stopped because there was snow on my license plate, and the officer said that my car smelled like weed, so he gave me a DUI. And I lost my driving privileges in New Jersey for 6 months because of that.
But are you a medical patient?
No, no, I'm not a medical patient. I was living in Jersey at the
just
time.
Just for smell, that ain't right.
But yeah, just for the smell of
did
cannabis.
You? Did you contest it, or was it just?
I contested it. Yeah. I even hired an expert witness.
Yeah.
And then when I got to trial, my lawyer was like, "Look, they've got you for these 4 charges. This, that,
impairment by smell.
Basically, he got me to cop a plea in the 11th hour." And he said, look, because if not, you're probably going to be found guilty, and then you're going to have the DWI and everything else on your record. So it was like, all right, well, I took it, and I regretted it. But, it was just, ultimately he said it's a traffic ticket, but the point is
does it count like if you had it again, it would be a multiple offense though? I mean, would it get worse?
Well, fortunately I didn't have any weed, so they didn't
What
hit me for a misdemeanor.
The idea of smell indicating impairment, that if he smelled it, you could indicate, well, then you must be impaired because you smelled it.
Too, yeah.
Therefore, your opinion is from an impaired officer. I mean,
yeah.
in other words, secondhand smoke, as an example, if you were hotboxing it and in a car and getting all you could up at the top of a Volkswagen or something, maybe.
That's a good point.
But, that's just, it feels really like a violation when there's nothing you can do about it, that's a feeling that I hate that.
Yeah.
Where you have, for
the
instance,
helplessness.
For instance, I went to a George Bush rally in Evesham Township. President George Bush was going to be reelected, or wanted to be. And I said, no, he's not coming in my home state.
So far.
He's not doing that. When he's talking about my opponent, he flip-flops. I make important decisions. John Kerry flip-flops. George Bush, as a candidate in 2009, told Dallas Morning News on December 15th, 1999, that he favored medical marijuana. He said, and it's
I remember
but
that.
listen, it
that.
sounds like George Bush. I favor that a state should have the right how to choose that decision, how to decide how to choose that decision for themselves. And then from 2000 to 2004. So I had a big sign on late wife's memorial wheelchair. I went to Evesham Township, where partially a producer here now too. I went to Evesham Township, and I dressed in a suit and tie. I looked Republican. I had a wheelchair, and I waited till thousands of people gathered for the president to fly in a helicopter. And after he'd entered, I went, the cars were being funneled out of an outdoor a field parking lot with a ravine, so there was only one way in and out. The others were blocked. They had a file in, they had barricades and cars were out. So I got behind the wheelchair with that sign. I was walking out with cars and was stopped by an Evesham Township policeman, said I'd have to get back behind the barricades. And I said I choose not to, and then he got really angry, and he went to drag the wheelchair sideways, and as we all know, wheelchairs don't go sideways. So as he wrestled with it and threw, and I had a picture of Cheryl on it, a memorial wheelchair, and the crowd went silent. And then I went and I got the wheelchair, I looked at the barricade, I looked at him, I looked at a Courier Post photographer, like, well, if you're going to take a picture, I'm going back, Well, I would have gone back anyway. And I got back in front of him and said, stepped in, and they don't like to back up, so I put my face in front of his and said, I'm not going to tell you again, boy, out of my way. Where only him and me could hear it. Whoa, he got pissed, man. He was, I couldn't even hear what he was saying because the crowd was screaming. He was like spitting in my face. But anyway, it was, I had to go to trial. Now, I had a right to be out there. I had a constitutional right to be out there. I had no money for a lawyer. And I went on in, I talked to the prosecutor, and I said, listen, I'm not even here to fight. I'm just here to make sure we're clear. I disobeyed an unlawful order is what I did. And he goes, but you were stopping traffic on the way out. You were impeding traffic. I said, I got pictures a friend of mine was with that showed cars going by me. And he's like, but the thing is I had to get out of Dodge and go to Florida to live for the winter. So basically, it could have been $500 and a 6 month sentence was the max. So that's where jury trial kicks in. I didn't have time for a jury trial. And the judge kind of screwed me with a $400 fine. We're out of 5. So while I was making arrangements, the woman judge, not in her robes, walks behind me in the municipal building. I see her, and she goes, "Okay, have a nice day." And I scream, "No! No, you do not get to tell me, have a nice day after doing what you did to me then. No, I'm not going to have a nice day, and I think you're well aware of that." And then everybody is sort of like, no, the judge is out of robes. There comes a time, And again, the Courier Post guy was there. He wanted to talk to me, and he's like, "Jim." And I said, "No, seriously, And that wasn't out of anger. That was out of a calculated, this one I could beat. She's out of her robes. She's not a judge now. She's a person.
Right.
And she's saying to me, have a nice day after that. I deem that to be wrong.
Yeah, that was. Let me ask you something. What is your end game? Like, I just gave you my utopian, thing as far as wanting the industry to be here in this city and be representative and also be reflective of the community, because talking about African Americans, people of color in the industry, that's my end game. What's your end game?
For me, the whole reason I started my association is because I wanted to create an online and an offline platform for people in just about every community that I can while I'm alive, so that the ideas can be shared and opinions can be shared. So, like, we're setting up chapters of my organization in as many states as we can. Right now, we have a New York City, an Albany, a Maine, a Michigan, and we're looking to open up in Puerto Rico very soon, and Long Island, New York.
Really?
And I'm also would like to open up in New Jersey. I just started talking to somebody about that as well. But so we've already expanded internationally, but we'd like to have CHA because we really, first and foremost, I want to try to bring together the THC and the hemp side of the industries from a social perspective, so that both people that believe in hemp and cannabis with THC, that they can all come together and we can all work together in harmony, because I see that the hemp people are kind of distancing themselves from the THC side of the industry.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I want to have a platform that's both local as well as online
To maintain those ties.
Yeah, and I want to be able to stream those events where people that know what they're talking about can be on those panels and have those speeches, and people at home can watch those. But in all these different markets. So, for example, if I'm in New York, but I hear that there's a big vote going on in Maine, I want to be able to plug into Maine and see exactly what's going on in Maine.
Right.
I think that my ultimate idea is to create a global communication network and grow it as big as I can as long as I'm alive. Just because I feel that an offline and online dual strategy is what it's going to take to give people that local presence that they need to get involved. But I don't feel that there's enough resources at the local level to give them enough. Like, I think that people need to have that access to a global network, because frankly there just are not that many people that are educated in this plant.
Yeah, which
that are
makes
willing
it
to speak
hard
up about it,
because you have to
Yeah.
win the hearts and minds of the people. And unfortunately, if the people are not as educated as possible, or as educated as they should be, it makes it all the more harder to win their hearts and minds.
Yeah, exactly.
Unless you come at them from a direction in which they can understand. Hence, the legal side of things. Nobody wants to be going to jail anymore. Nobody wants to be dealing with those high court costs. Or fees. No one wants to be dealing with the cops on this matter. That's the thing, in my mind, these are things that the people have been dealing with immediately right here in this city, locally. So this is what how your thing would play out on my streets.
I want there to be infrastructure locally and
Yes.
online for people
Yeah.
to learn. And I think about just like from a fun side of it, like I'm interested in having, let's say, a CHA chapter in, let's say Japan, and seeing what sort of products and services and ideas those people are coming with. Or people, let's say, in the Far East, like in, let's say, the Taiwan area, wherever, where cannabis is known to originate in the Valley of Kush and stuff. I want to know, also in, let's say, in Africa, what sort of products and ideas that these people and struggles these people are dealing with. I really think that we're missing as a movement, a globalized movement, nothing that really connects everybody together, and that's kind of what I really want to do, is give people that outlet that I never really had when I needed it when I was growing up.
Right. The funny thing is that, like, for years I was a contractor for a few years, so for a long time I would go pass through Amsterdam, and what I learned in my time in Amsterdam, because and the reason why I'm bringing this up is because I always ask people, what what's the end game for you, and what is the worst case? Like when you're talking to people who are in opposition of, have you ever asked them what's their worst case, their nightmare scenario with this? If we get it, what do you think is going to happen? And the stories that I get are, you think it would be like Night of the Living Dead. They have this thing in their head that if we legalize it today, tomorrow you're going to have children, walking down the street smoking marijuana in front of everybody, and there'll be bodies laying in the streets and all this other stuff. This is in their minds. These people really think this way.
Well, you look in back in the late 1800s with what Britain was selling all the opium to China, and destroyed like the lives of 20 million civilians, and then those Chinese ended up becoming American immigrants, a lot of those people, and they brought that opioid epidemic here.
Yep.
And a lot of that hit right on the East Coast, like in New York, and they used that as an example to make drugs illegal for the first time. Like in America, most of the years that we have been a country, all drugs were essentially legal, plant or no plant. You used to be able to send heroin right through the mail with a hypodermic needle and advertise it in a newspaper. So I think people are afraid of going backwards, and they associate cannabis with that. And that's one of the big reasons why I try to shy away from the word marijuana and use the word cannabis.
Yeah, because that's actually a derogatory term.
The ideas that come into people's head when they think of marijuana is of a street drug, no different from heroin or anything else. And when people think of cannabis, in my opinion, it softens the entire ideas that people have. So trying to reframe the way that people think about cannabis is one of the biggest things that we push for.
I've often had to tell people that when you're speaking about cannabis, if you use the term, if you're still using the term gateway drug, you've just dated yourself.
Exit drug, exit from pharmaceuticals, exit from opioids.
Yeah, I tell people, I said, when you say that, if you still using that term, I know exactly how much you don't know, and I'm about to kill you. I'm about to bomb you in this conversation.
Lefty's big about cannabis, and we have a medical marijuana law. It's hard, not to say it, but and I'm dragging myself further and further away. But I would also submit that in softening the way people hear things. For instance, I refer to New Jersey as seriously going to be able to have a law for allowing a social use of cannabis for adults 19 over, because when recreational, I'm not a recreational drinker. I socially enjoy vodka now and then. I do, but so people are referred to as social drinkers. That I find the word social use of marijuana, because it's more social than drinking. You don't pass the bottle around. It's very social, something communal about sharing, physically, passing something around like that. It's been like that probably for centuries and centuries in all sorts of cultures. And so one time, I forget where I saw it at playback, and it just flowed. Somebody said social use of marijuana by adults. I kind of liked it. So, I'm just throwing it out there. That now and then, I mean, like if I were testifying in a committee, I'd like that, because recreational, and I generally don't do something recreational when I smoke. It's
almost insulting when people associate my cannabis use with recreational use. To me, I wouldn't say it's almost insulting. It's very insulting. I mean, I understand that there are many people that do use cannabis purely recreationally. Many of them I hang out with, they don't associate cannabis with spiritual use. But I feel that my spirit wouldn't be right without it, because that's really how I'm able to decompress from the regular everyday thoughts in my mind and just kind of allow my mind to wander and let my spirit.
I hung out with Adam and Jeff yesterday and talk about spiritual use. Yeah. They're spiritual users.
Yeah.
Those guys, man.
Yeah, the tree-based guys, they're awesome. Into their tree-based ministry church.
Yeah.
They're very much into the esoteric, aspects of cannabis and spirituality. And, frankly, there's more than enough evidence that shows that cannabis is in the Bible. There's Dr. Yosef Glassman. He is a medical doctor, and he's also translated the Zohar, and he firmly stands behind cannabis right throughout the the Old Testament and the Zohar, and you look at just the entire religion of like Hinduism back in the day with Shiva and all that, and you have the Sadhus and the Rastafarians who are basically cousins twice over from the Sadhus when they settled in the West Indies. So I mean, cannabis and spirituality is something that people deserve the right to that, but people need to understand and treat it as such. I feel that you meet a lot of people that it's interesting that they don't associate cannabis with a therapeutic or a spiritual plant. They just associate it as a drug. I mean, a lot of people, white, black, young, old, they're just like...
They think Cheech and Chong.
They have no understanding of where I'm going with all this, and they just want to get high. And it's kind of like, all right, maybe one day you will come into the light,
Well, you're evolved in your way of... You're way more evolved in your way of thinking in this regard than they are.
It's like enlightenment, enlightenment. It has to happen to all of us.
And then here's the even more trippier part. Sometimes you just say, and it's not even worth talking to you about it right now.
Yeah.
I don't even think I can teach you.
Yeah, you
I
can.
know I can't. And I had this conversation at a family cookout, and I told the guy made me so mad. I looked at him, I said, look, you want me to just bottom line it for you? He said, yeah, because I don't think it should ever be legal and blah, 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 blah. I said, people like me are waiting for people like you to die. Because your way of thinking is so deep, it's so embedded in you that there is no change in your mind. But unfortunately, it's too many of y'all that's in office. So we really got to wait for y'all to die to change your way of thinking in order for things to get better. Because your way of thinking is what's holding people like me up.
Well, sadly, there are entire communities based around religions that think that cannabis is evil just like any other drug. And those communities have votes, and those voters don't like the whatever you want to call us, hedonists or whatever we are, that believe in this as a medicine. I mean, we're fighting against a world that's basically built on religious beliefs. This is what it all came down to. And these people don't want to admit that cannabis is a foundational crop in just about every single major religion that there is, but they just doesn't matter because whoever is the one who is providing those ideas to that community, they want control. And they feel that if they introduce cannabis into that belief system, they lose that little bit of control that they have. Yeah. And you know what? That's what cannabis does. It turns people into free thinkers. Wouldn't you believe it? That's why it's such a powerful, plant.
I think that is the base of why I think even legislators at a root, many don't trust it, because actually questioning them where they have to provide answers they don't have, it would be frightening to be a legislator and have everybody all of a sudden, hey, wait a minute, does it make sense?
But this is exactly why we need to activate the activist base, like these people, that have been impacted by this plant, or there have family members that have been cured by this plant. They need to stand for it. They need to stand up for it, because we need to fight against all the people who are being brainwashed into believing that this isn't what we say it is, that it is something that is going to bring society down a notch or 10 notches. People need to know exactly. Like the people that already been impacted by this plant need to know that this is something we need them to be a part of. Sitting on the sidelines isn't going to win the game for us.
I was on a show with Jim and Ken Wolski, and I explained to the both of them that like this time period that we are in right now, I call it vain. This is where we live.
Call it what?
Vain. And I remember Jim looked at me and I said, you know how they say, don't let so-and-so's death be in vain? Okay, we here. We there. You did. You let so-and-so's death be in vain. That's where we landed at right now. So now what do we do? And so, and people like us, we're actually doing the what do we do? Where this is it. Follow our lead. This is how we get out of it. But it's the thinking and the work is it's a lot of work.
But someone's got to agitate someone's got to shake it up.
Exactly.
And that's what we're doing.
Yeah. Exactly.
And that's
Exactly.
what it is.
Exactly.
Because someone's got to be the sacrificial lamb.
I asked Jim the same question I'm going to ask you.
What?
Have you noticed, or is it just me? Have you noticed that you're more people in here are making themselves known to us than since the bill went through than before?
Oh yeah.
You know,
we're getting shit done.
We're becoming a destination.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm you know, and getting but we need the problem. Like for me, it's only happening here, not down there, because 2 blocks that way is City Hall.
Take care of it, Leo. Come on, man. Just take care of it.
I show up and
That's it.
No.
And we'll get you to.
What does that mean?
They don't like this. They don't like this.
They
don't like this.
Yeah.
Ken Wolski actually presented a resolution, you know, just to get the conversation started. Shut it down. Not even interested in hearing this conversation.
Well, it's clear who's running this city. Yeah.
9,000. See what I'm saying?
Yeah.
See, remember our little rant earlier about how? Yeah. See, this is what I am dealing with, you know. And then we have a warrior, you know, who's an ally, Ed Fortune, weed man, you know. And you look at what the local police department has been doing to him. Now, as a property owner, as a city a taxpayer, I'm screaming in the lawsuit. The way the police department has been conducting themselves, totally off of mission statement.
Oh yeah.
Completely off of mission
Big
statement.
time.
Yeah. Now the police director is a direct appointee of the mayor, the guy who only needed 7,000 votes to get the water department guy. You see what I'm
Probably
saying?
unopposed as well. You know?
Yeah.
No, my wife told me that there were 10 people running for mayor.
Wow.
10 people.
Well, if that ain't a setup.
Yeah, 10 people. Wait a minute. You had to split 9,000 votes amongst 10 people. Oh man, this is bad.
Come on, man. You run right up the middle. You're in before they know it.
Huh?
Yeah.
You could get in before they know it. Seriously,
Yeah.
you could set yourself up to be one of them.
Get in there, Leo.
We need a foothold.
Get in there.
Man.
You know,
We'll help.
My wife said to me one night.
I ran for state senate. You do this.
And my wife said to me, she said, "You know why you would be good for it?" And I said, "No, why?" She was like, "That's why." I said, "What?" She was like, "Because you don't want it."
Exactly.
She was like, "You don't want it," and she said, "That's what the city would need.
They need someone like you.
Who,
They do.
Who, you know, like, who would not be like like City Hall would not be their end game. Who's not interested in?
Well, that's your platform right there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
You know, like City Hall wouldn't do it for me, and that's what my wife kept saying. She said you wouldn't. She said you wouldn't even care. And I said, to be honest with you, that's right. I was like, I wouldn't even have a mayor's ball. We can't afford it. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, but you know, you examine your inroads. Look at the possibilities.
Yeah.
You know, when you've been the one talking about how few people get out to vote. That gives you an opportunity to really get people energized to vote for you in particular, because all these other votes are just getting split up between 10 people or 9 people.
You know, I really what I decided was my major decision was I'm in college full time now, and you know I'm
Drop out. We need you.
No. My idea is to become a consultant, a marijuana dispensary consultant in the state of New Jersey. You know, I want to be able to help usher in this industry, and the best way that I can help to do that is to first get my education, finish this program I'm in, you know, and then secondly, you know, become well aware on the inner workings and try and do my best for my community by bringing this industry right here. Just because it's, you know, it's not like it's Newark. You know, Newark would be a logistical nightmare.
I'm up from Newark. What are you
Yeah.
trying to say? I love Newark.
No, what I'm saying
I used to
you
buy
is-
weed in Irvington.
No, what I'm
He's saying with
to
the
you is,
airport and everything
if
they
you
got
wanted
going
I
to-
love it.
No, but what I'm saying to you is, if you really wanted to do a good model just to see how it would how fast it could affect a community, what better city than Trenton?
Trenton would be
because
the one, yeah.
it's for as far as the experiment. If you
You're
wanted
right.
to see how your your business model would work.
Yeah, it's our capital city. But
you
don't
could-
talk
yeah.
shit about Newark, though. Brick City, man. We rock.
No, I'm saying starting out wanting to see Newark would be a legit. The reason why Newark would be a logistical nightmare is because of its size. That's too big.
Yeah.
That's too big of a market. We just want to know, if you really want to know what your business model would look like in a city, then why not Trenton? Because it's the smallest city, but it's a capital.
That's a good
You
point.
could actually see you could see how your business model actually works, and it wouldn't. And logistically, 7.5 square miles is great because you have over 120,000 people crammed in a 7.5 square mile radius.
And
So if your business model could work in a 7.5 square mile radius amongst 100 and something thousand, then you can take that model to the next level, like Newark, because then you would know. But you'd have bumped your head enough times in this place
and that
to
gives you
figure out what would
that
work.
gives you the last thought of the day because it's 2:04.
I'm sorry.
It's 2:04.
Yeah, Scott from the Cannabis and Hemp Association, thank you so much for
Hey, this was great. Thank you,
Come on,
guys.
Scott.
Thank
It
you
was
for having
interesting.
us. Thank you for having us.
Yeah, no
anything.
doubt.
Anything you want to
Thank
promote? You have a website?
Yeah, go to cannabisandhemp.org or link up with us. We have a meetup page as well, meetup.com/cannabis and hemp.
Cool.
And we're still looking to open up a chapter here in New Jersey so we can start bringing some of these industry leaders from other state here to New Jersey and try to get everybody kind of just educated on what's going on a commercial level all around. So,
Nice.
if anybody's interested in that, get in touch with us, Scott at cannabisandhemp.org, and let's talk about legalization some more on November 18th.
Yeah.
November 18th, New York University. So get in touch with us. Thanks again, guys. I really appreciate you having us.
Oh man, thanks for coming, man. It was a good meeting you, man.
Yeah, same here.
Yeah.
Thank
me
you.
ask
This is
you-
great what you guys are doing
Let
here.
me ask you a question. Have you guys ever burnt your pubic hair off with a MAP gas torch?
With the who?
No.
With a torch. You know those Home Depot big yellow torches,
I
MAP
can- I
gas?
can tell
you ever
you
burn your
no.
pubic hair off with that?
No.
I've never put anything hot like that.
Nothing
in
that
that
close
area.
goes
Yeah, I've
to that
never.
area,
Nah,
yeah.
my
No?
pubic
What's it
hair has
like?
never.
No,
been
you
in
guys
that
never did
position.
that?
What's it
I
like?
have. And I'll never do it again. Now that I have a magical butter machine, I'll never do that again.
That was his intro to the promo.
This is how I medicate from now on. Never again with the MAP gas.
That was a stretch, bro.
Magical butter makes your recipes better. Brownies, cookies, smoothies, sauces, soups, veggies, candies, salad dressing for your tossed salad, Jim.
Nah, I don't eat tossed salad.
Pet food. Pet food, body products.
Why do you like pet food so much? Bill Caruso, you want to sing with us? Magical butter.
Because the pets don't know how to let you know.
Hold
it
on.
works.
Bill, we have to talk to you, yes. Yes. Okay. That's great. Yeah. Yeah, we talked to Senator Cruz Senator Cruz's office this morning, and yeah, she told us that you're the contact, and yeah, you're the one, right? Yeah. Okay. Awesome. We're happy we got some progress going with that. You know, we should have called Laura and told her. Okay, so we'll start that over. I should ask Bill that question. Should I ask Bill that question about the MAP gas?
No.
This is horrible. Let's try it again. Brownies, cookies, smoothies, sauces, soups, veggies, candies, salad dressings for your tossed salad, William.
Really?
Yes, the Magical Butter Machine makes it all. You call 1-800-420-4334 and get your Magical Butter Machine from magicalbutter.com.
That is fabulous.
I love this machine.
I think the machine is only limited to your imagination.
Yeah, pretty much.
You know, out of all the things we've done with our podcasts, I think this is the one that's the most gratifying, knowing the individual stories downhill of this, where they were able to get one free because of Garen Angel's
Thank you, Garen.
generosity.
Yes.
Thank you very much, Garen. And good stuff rolls downhill sometimes, not just crap. And this is one of those things. So out of everything we've been able to accomplish, Garen has the confidence we'll get this to who needs it. We do the longest promo anybody's ever done.
We don't sing over the flute.
You don't know if I give a sign. Hey, I'm loyal, right? Okay, I'll play. You know, you
I
can
love
buy
this
my
song.
songs. Yeah. Lefty knows this song's going to be in my head. He changed to something a little more inane. But this is, I will wake up in the middle of the night and have this sort of thing going, a little salsa dance, stepping while I'm laying down.
No, it's a cha-cha-cha. The cha-cha-cha for CHA.
Yeah, well, I dance salsa anything I want. So what else can we do? You got really through the salad dressings. I remember that.
It's amazing. This machine's amazing. You can do limoncello salad dressings.
Limoncello, what's that?
Oils?
Limoncello is alcohol. That's for when you want to get drunk.
Yeah, Danny DeVito was quite the spokesperson for that.
Danny DeVito?
Yeah, he was quite for limoncello. It was some sort of maybe he
Okay.
had his own brand of it or something. Remember, he showed up after a late night on an early morning talk show, limoncelloed to the gills. It was awesome. But to this machine's credit, I've never really heard of anything bad about it from anybody that has
No.
one. Yeah, there's no dissent.
Not at all. It's an amazing machine. Get yours today. Be dialing Magical Butter 1-800-420-4334, magicalbutter.com. It comes with a love glove.
What's that?
William, do you have a love glove?
What is that?
Well, this Magical Butter machine comes with a love glove.
No, I don't, because I don't have a machine.
Well, did you enter the
When
contest?
a day comes that I can have a machine, I'll have a love glove.
I got a love glove.
Well,
But you have one because you have a machine, right?
yeah. I have Jesse's machine.
Well, yeah, but they're for contest winners, right? Oh,
Yeah.
and speaking of contest winners, MedicalFreedom.com will be donating its labeling system.
Okay, go ahead. Go ahead.
Will be donating its
Like being
420 Victory Flags labeling systems to the winners of the Magical Butter machine.
I love that.
So we're donating.
So you can tell what's
Oh,
medicated and what's not.
I also believe that Statehouse Across will be donating a refrigerator flag magnet.
Oh yeah, we have the secret sesh coming up on the 25th. If you're cool enough to know about the secret sesh, it's for patients only, and you can come there. I think it's $50 to get in. It's in Newark, and it's going to be off the hook. Dabs everywhere, dab bar, edible bar, just cannabis everywhere.
Medicated and non-medicated foods.
Amazing. There's going to be music. There's going to be
Oh, the
giveaways.
stuffing was out of this world last year. You kidding me?
Magical Butter will have a machine there for the raffle to give away. It's going to be an awesome, awesome event. I can't wait for that one. So, yeah, medical-freedom.com. Get your State of Compassion flags from medical-freedom.com. Want to thank all our sponsors. Tree Base, Cannabis Hemp Association, CMMNJ.org. That's the Coalition for Medical Marijuana New Jersey. The whole reason we can sit here and smoke cannabis across the street is because of the Coalition for Medical Marijuana. Thank you. SativaCross.com. Next week, we're back in Bayonne. We'll be doing the wheelchair crawl or wheelchair run. I don't know what you'd call it. But we'll have a bunch of wheelchairs going down Broadway in Bayonne. We gave them 2 weeks.
Wheelchair awareness.
We gave them 2 weeks to put a ramp up. They should have plenty of time
They didn't take you
to
seriously.
get a piece of wood. Oh, they will. Well, next week they will.
I feel you. But it should be a permanent, not a temporary.
No, it has to be temporary. You can't have a permanent ramp. And not in Bayonne.
Everybody
because
can use a ramp.
People are going to walk over it. People are going to step over it. A temporary ramp like the tackle box place. When we bought fishing stuff,
Professionally created.
they put a ramp down. We went up the friggin' ramp. It was easy. Then they-
Okay.
It was simple.
So then they'll be telling you to bring your own?
It's a piece of wood.
They'll be telling you to bring that with you?
A woman who owned a medical supply company did not have a ramp. She should be selling ramps.
Are you kidding me?
How do you not have a ramp? You're a medical supply company. Are you coming, Jim, next week?
You're
Are you
supposed
coming?
to take a breath before you speak.
I hear Mark Levine do that. I love it.
Yeah.
Are you going to come next week?
That's on Wednesday?
Yeah, please come. Please.
90% chance.
All right.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I know you're pissed off when you saw that
Well,
video.
I'd like to just witness it all, you know?
No, we're going to start shit next week. We're going to agitate next week. Are you down with that? You down with some agitation?
If it's done a certain way, yeah.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
So, how are you going to agitate?
Thank you. Thank you.
What's up, Scott? Yeah, good to see you.
So, Tuffy's fight, Jenny's purple ribbon journey, Jenna's journey, prayers for Pete, prayers for Sarah, Blue Planet Biotech, Canasense, NewJerseyWeedman.com,
Medical freedom.
Run New Jersey,
Forgetting something.
we always do.
I know.
We got Tuffy's fight, American refugees,
Yeah.
the Wilsons, the Estrellas, Storms.
These are all plural because they're whole families, not just individuals.
Yeah, the whole family suffering.
Yeah.
I think we got them all.
I have to look at the replay and see.
So bad with this. I have to add the sponsors to this list too.
Yeah.
This list here.
Yeah.
Are we ready for the list yet?
It's time. We can't avoid it. It's a duty. I think it's a good ending, though. It should end seriously and on a somber note because that's how it began. With the...
Well, we'll start with Cheryl Miller, your late wife. We all know that story. You were talking about it before, how you pushed her around right here.
Yeah.
She fought. She couldn't move her body, and she fought with her head, and you took care of her. You were her caregiver for many years, and
She agreed to lay down in a hospital bed in front of the Statehouse to do an illegal test of an illegal substance in front of state troopers. In 1997, that's going back.
that's agitation.
Yeah. Yep.
You're an agitator, Jim.
Yeah.
So was Cheryl. She was the best.
Yeah, it was easy just showing up. You know, we won from the moment we got out of the car.
Wait, what did you just say?
We won from the moment we got out of the car. Wherever we got there, once we got out of the car, it was too late.
That was some fortune cookie type shit.
Wow.
There you go.
Yeah, that should be
really.
a fortune cookie, man.
That's where I got that. How do you know?
That was real fortune cookie-ish right
fortune
there.
cookie wisdom.
Fortune cookie-ish.
Yeah. That's a fact.
We both sit here talking about, damn, that was deep.
Yeah. No, but it was born of fact that there was really no defense to Cheryl. There wasn't. It was impossible. You couldn't fight against what she was fighting for in her presence. It was impossible.
Not to her
and
face.
you know, and it was like I was behind the wheelchair, like nah, you can't get to me.
Yeah.
You were.
Cheryl's
know?
kung fu was mighty.
Yeah, right, man. They
Her
couldn't
kung
get
fu
around
was
her,
mighty.
You know? Yeah. But you know,
man.
but powerful on allies as well. You know,
Yeah.
get people to commit. There's a lot of people that reinforce what they were already doing to see somebody like her showing up. So
Yeah, it was something.
yeah, it was.
That inspired me.
You know,
That's
it's-
why I'm
it's-
here.
It's like who I am, pretty much. You know, it's because of that. So, for better or worse.
And then poor little Sabina Rose, who didn't have a chance at life. She didn't have a chance to fight. 15 months old, and she died waiting for her medicine. That's shame on us. Shame on us.
Apparently, we're not doing enough.
Man. Diane.
Or Patella. You know.
Yeah, she had Lou Gehrig's disease, and that's just a horrible, horrible way to die. Oh, my God.
She came and bared her soul one time, cried how she's afraid to die in hearing, or it was either in hearing or at a press conference afterwards. And her widower, Joe, got her hearing back as well. So, we're still thinking about you a little bit. Certainly the end of every podcast, at least.
Gracie from Pennsylvania, Cindy Mae, Marie from Pennsylvania, who died from cancer, little Jack from Colorado, Michael Dillon, young man had seizures. All these young people, man.
Forever young.
I never thought about that when I heard that. Now I know what that means. Like the song, I know the song, like Forever Young, and I never really thought about that.
Well,
But,
age shall not weary them,
yeah, I know.
nor the years condemn. I mean, we're about to pretty much sum it up.
Yeah, this poem does sum it up, man. Very simple, but very just powerful.
Inappropriate.
Joan Ford wrote the book on epilepsy, literally wrote the book on
Literal,
epilepsy and her struggles. Randy Robertson, who recently died from cancer, his whole body was ravaged with cancer. He had the Whipple procedure, and they pulled out all of his organs. By the time he got his cannabis, he still didn't get cannabis legally. He was medicating illegally, of course, all those years. And poor Chad. Chad died this year from brain cancer. Chad's father killed himself when he found out Chad had brain cancer, so Chad's mother had to take care of Chad and all this by herself. And then Chad wound up passing away this year. Jeremy was Joanne's husband, and he had a horrible, tragic accident. He was on probation on drug court. He was 6 months away from smoking a joint, and he died before he was able to get access. He's a victim of the drug war, if I ever saw one. The whole reason Jeremy got into an accident is because of the job situation he was in. He was basically it was very hard to get a job when you have a conviction like that for growing cannabis. Stigma. Matt was one of Jesse's patients who died. She was at 4 patients. Now Jesse's down to 3 patients that she's helping. And for some reason, I have a hard time with this name.
Yeah, for some reason.
Roger Barber. Love you, dude.
Yeah, it's a tough one.
I mean, he was one of us. I mean, all these people were one of us, but Roger, we hung out with Roger. I dabbed out with Roger. Dude was friggin' cool. And he was the most positive person I think I ever met in my life. And despite what he was dealing with his daughter and his family and all the stress, he always kept it positive. He was always encouraging to me personally, always supported me personally. And I need that in my life. And he gave that to me. And he gave me hope.
I mean, how do you tell a guy, Roger, you might be a more effective advocate if you stop freaking smiling all the time? You're fighting an impossible situation, but he saw the hope in it all. He saw the forward progress, not the time that it took so much. And, he had the fortune / misfortune of being a lawyer. So he only had to look to himself for legal remedy, which takes time and resource, and which caused financial and emotional burden on the Barber family. and may have ultimately led to his having a heart attack. You can see in the pictures how he'd lost a lot of weight. I think it literally consumed him. And but his inspiration is, always going to work.
Yeah.
And basically, this is a list of people that both of us get to just go think of any one person, and you feel less like whining about why do you have to do this, and should we have to do it? It's like, no, we just got to get out and do it. And to know that many of these people, most recently anyway, appreciated what we were doing. So we keep doing it. That's why I want legalization in New Jersey. It's my only chance at backing away from this. And
it's our only way out, Jim. We'll be doing this forever.
This is like worse than the mafia. It's like it's how do I get out? Intact and have a life. And I'm 64. It's I have a bucket list, and it's got one thing on it. I want to be able to smoke cannabis legally and purchase it or grow it in my home state of New Jersey without fear of recrimination or anything. And even if I can get to just go purchase it, I want to know that. And then I can step away. I mean, I would rather spend my time helping patients grow their medicine, and or turning it into oil those who need help. I think I'll end up starting a volunteer organization of people that realize that's the way to give back. To go into their house, it would take 10, 15 minutes twice a week, once a week, to maintain somebody's and make sure you're turning it on and the timers are on and off, and give me a call if something goes wrong. Then we can really start getting down to doing some good where we can see it happen. We don't have to just know it's happening. I want the pleasure of seeing the smile on somebody's face when they see what happens when you top a plant. And all of a sudden it's got 2 stalks. It's like 2 plants in one now, That's some of the best therapy patients have. And the WAM, Women's Alliance for Medical Marijuana in California, Valerie Corral, they have people who are terminal live on site and grow their plants. And they say that watching their own plants grow, watching their medicine grow, as therapeutic as thing as can be. So we got to get there, man. 20 more months. Start the countdown. And all these people we just remembered, it's what we said. They don't have to deal with getting old, those who weren't old before they passed on. And I'm quite sure Cheryl's had no pain for 13 years. So she'd be 70 now.
They shall grow not old, as we that are left grow old. Age shall not weary them, nor the years condemn. At the going down of the sun, and in the morning, we will remember them. We will remember them.